night's sleep. The weather was great. Had a good weekend. Yeah, all signs point to yes.
I had a terrible sleep last night, so I really cannot wait to get home and do my Finn obligations, and then as soon as he's asleep, I'm gonna ask my wife, "Can I go to bed now?" Yeah, I'm gonna catch up on some sleep tonight.
You had a good day. The in-laws had a bunch of folks over, and that was very nice on Sunday. I worked on Saturday doing Lindenwood football. Nice win over Tennessee Martin. That was fun. We had a great, really good football game. Watched baseball in the evening. Jen had to work all weekend, and so I was able to grind all the baseball I wanted.
Oh, wow. So as soon as, college football and obviously the professional NFL was on yesterday, I completely forgot baseball existed.
Well, you're on American.
It was so much fun last week having daytime baseball games. A couple of those series went to 3 games, and, having noon and 2 o'clock baseball. Yeah. I am not a baseball guy, but
it's a problem.
I know. There is nothing quite like playoff baseball,
Had some good games, a couple of blowouts, but they were really good. The Yankees are behind the 8 ball.
Yeah.
0-2 heading back to Yankee Stadium.
Have the Mariners ever won anything?
World Championship?
Yes.
No. But they had what did they win, Connor? 116 games one year with Ichiro and that whole gang.
That was the record, right?
Yeah.
It's still the record,
yeah.
is it?
But they didn't. But
really?
they did not win the World Series. I don't think they got to the World Series that year. I'd have to go look it up.
I don't remember them ever being in the big game.
But they had that team that was a juggernaut, and they came up short in postseason. That's why it's a whole different animal. But now I think it's basically 2 games a day through the rest of this series, doubleheaders each day, National League or American League.
So the baseball season is just so long, and I feel like a random game in May doesn't mean anything. But when
of course, you're wrong. But go ahead.
When you look at the Cardinals' record, we were 2 games out of having the wild card. We could have used that game in May.
Absolutely.
But these games now obviously mean something, and so I think that's why I like it, because the games, are very consequential.
I think they always mean something, Josh.
I know,
just not to him.
Just not to you.
Yeah.
Just not to me.
I think we're at is it 5 and 7 p.m. today, or 5 and 8, something like that.
Brendan Weesey's going to join us.
He'll have all the detail.
He will have all the details.
Or as you kids like to say, the deets. He'll have the deets.
Oh, are kids saying that?
Yeah, I think so.
Brendan, KTRS Sports Director, is going to join us. Mizzou is off this weekend, so we don't have any updates. But I think everybody in the 5 teams lost, and then they just took the college football poll and moved everybody up 5 spots.
Well, because there were some big losses.
Big Penn State. Oh my gosh, they were in the top 5 or so.
No, I think they were probably in the top 10. They dropped a little bit.
UCLA has never held a lead the entire season. They are a very bad football team.
They were winless.
Yet
they were winless, and they never held the lead. Yet they handily beat Penn State and had the lead the whole time.
Yeah, what's funny is they won wire to wire when they hadn't had a lead at all before.
Isn't that wild? That's why they say any given Saturday, I guess.
They don't say that.
They don't?
No.
Brendan's going to join us with sports. And so we'll talk to him about that. This hour, I do want to mention this. Christopher Columbus Day is next Monday. We have to work, Bob. We do not get the day off.
We don't get the days off.
We're not a bank.
Do
the banks get a day off for that?
Oh, yeah. Banks are
closed. Is that a bank holiday?
Yes.
I think it is.
Oh, it's one of the big bank holidays.
What about the post office?
Post office is closed.
Really?
This is
an actual holiday.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it to us non-Italian government worker people.
Is it a federal holiday?
If the post office is closed, it is.
I am partial Italian.
Are you?
I'm quarter. Zini was
I know
grandma's
somebody
maiden
with that name.
North County Italian people.
Okay.
But but we've never really celebrated Columbus Day.
Turned your back on your people.
Connor got stuck in the
I got stuck in the parade route last year.
in the parade route last year
At the Hill. They'd let me out.
He went to go get a sandwich from Amagetti's.
I did not realize it was Columbus Day. I was not really clued in.
And they closed off all the streets, and you're in a maze suddenly, and you can't get out.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get somebody on this week to talk about what they're doing here locally for Columbus Day. I guess they'll have a parade on Sunday, if last year's any indication. But there's a new book out called The 9 Lives of Christopher Columbus. Matthew Restall is the author. He's going to join us and kind of break it down. It's such a huge story, Columbus, not just for what he did while he was alive, but, the 400 years since. Everything is named after him.
Yeah, and then the modern controversy of should anything be named after him, and the cancel culture, and where hero, villain, where's the truth? And the book explores a lot of that.
Well, again, my paisans, the poor Italian Americans who are like, well, you can't take away, Columbus. They should just call it, Italian American Heritage Day, or come up with something
that'd be better,
snappier than that.
There was also some controversy at the time, right? He was arrested at the time.
Columbus was?
Yeah. Don't know
By
if you
whom?
knew that.
By whom?
He came back, and they said, we don't like what you did.
Oh,
We're arresting
over there.
you. And then later he got out and then went back.
Died fabulously wealthy.
Yeah.
His heirs these days are still walking around with his titles and everything. We'll break it down. Too much to get to, but again, there is a new book out. So if you want to read the whole story.
By the way, the banks, it depends on the bank.
Really?
Yep.
Huh.
Chase banks are open. Some other banks are not.
See if Commerce is open.
Do you need to go to the bank?
That's right. No.
Bank of America will be closed, but Chase Bank will be open.
Let me ask you something. When's the last time you stepped foot inside a bank?
Oh,
I mean, not going through the. Not
I'm
even
trying
going
to
through the
remember the
drive-thru.
reason I went in, and it wasn't my friends at Royal Banks of Missouri. It was a bank where I have a checking account, and I can't remember the issue I had, and no one could help me. So I stormed out of the bank in a huff.
Wow.
Have you been in a huff?
I've huffed before.
Yeah, I huffed.
Not at the bank, but last time I went inside of a bank, it was about a year ago, and I needed a crisp $100 bill for a birthday present.
And did they give you one?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yes, but I mean that's I just needed to go in for change.
Like Saturday Night Live skit, Change Bank.
Yeah, the change bank.
We make change. 2 5s for a 10, 2 10s for a 20.
Maybe you want a 5 and 5 singles. But with everything online now, my mom takes pictures of her checks on her phone.
Yeah,
and deposits them. I don't even do that. And my mom's 75.
You're kind of behind the times.
Kind of a Luddite.
You don't like using apps either.
No,
like
to order food.
You would expect that from me, but not from Josh. Generation removed.
No, you're very with it, Bob. I would have.
You pull up to a McDonald's these days, and they say, "Did you order on the app?" And no, I didn't.
I only order on the app
exclusively.
It's cheaper. It's cheap. You can get cheaper food. You can complain about how expensive the McDonald's is. Order on the app. It's like $3 cheaper.
If you order off the app, they give you free fries every once in a while or something.
$3 cheaper for like a full order?
So on the app, not to advertise for McDonald's, they don't need it from me.
Right.
You can get a free fries with a drink anytime. That's always available.
Just using the app.
Just using the app.
Beautiful.
All right,
so you order your drink, which is $1.50, and you get free fries, which normally cost $3.
We're loving it.
I got to download this thing.
What I did there.
Do you
now
have
he's going to download the app?
You know what bothers me though with the apps and everything? They always want you to get a password and log in.
Well, that's a feature of using the app.
I just want a double cheeseburger.
You want to stay anonymous.
I got to create a passcode for this.
Stay with cash only too.
Yeah, cash is king.
I prefer barter.
Yeah, I'll take a cheeseburger.
You get up to the window and try to trade.
Yeah. I'll do the dishes for the next 15 minutes. Peter Haralambous from ABC is going to join us. I woke up. Maybe I was out of the cycle over the weekend. I didn't watch CBS Sunday Morning because
I did. It was a good episode. Good show. Good show.
Did David Pogue do something? He's a friend of the show here.
I can't remember now.
But there
must not have been that good.
There was London football, which started at 8:30. So
I watched a lot of that.
I was watching sports all weekend, doing a lot of stuff with Finn. We went to Daniel's farm yesterday. Big pumpkin patch.
Oh, pumpkin patch. Did Finn like that?
He loved it, but it was weird because it was 87 degrees outside, and
It was hot.
at a pumpkin patch, and they're selling hot cider,
But I was driving around by the evening. It cooled off. It was a gorgeous night.
It was, and it has been.
A near full moon. I think it's a super moon tonight, I think.
For every day that it got into the 90s the past week, it's always gotten down into the 60s at night. So,
Well, it's supposed to get into the 40s this week.
yeah, it's going to taper off. We're going to hit the 70s, I think, by next Monday. So it'll be fall before you know it.
Highest 70s are this week.
Yeah, this week.
They're here, Josh.
They're here?
Yeah.
Halfway through October, and we finally hit fall.
Start wearing your dark plaids, your corduroys,
Oh,
your
yeah.
toques.
Yeah.
The toque.
The toque. I woke up this morning, turned the news on, and apparently the National Guard is in every city in America, depending on what station you're watching. I didn't realize that had kind of opened up over the weekend. So Peter Harlambus from ABC is going to join us. Illinois is suing to stop the National Guard. I think they're moving the California National Guard into Portland.
Because Oregon had stopped the use of their National Guard.
So now Gavin Newsom saying, you can't mobilize my National Guard in California. So it's all a mess, and Peter will try to sort it out for us. In the 4 o'clock hour, Ryan Kroll from St. Louis Magazine is going to join us, as he does for his weekly hit. And I love Ryan because it's news from St. Louis. It's hard news. It's interesting news. It's fun stuff. He covers the gamut at St. Louis Magazine. But remember this call center cult that was operating out of Nellie's mansion there over by Hidden Valley? It was like a church group, but they were...
I don't know the story. Where was I?
Kidnapping people to...
It was mostly a call center.
Holding them against their will to do call center stuff and, call people and ask them for money. Very weird story, but they got caught, and I'm sure they're going to trial for this, but Ryan's got some updates on that. The gas station gambling machines, there's a lawsuit.
Oh, was McGraw calling then?
Right? I texted him earlier. Did you see the lawsuit? There's a lawsuit which might actually force the state to finally make a decision on these things. Now, Bob, I don't know if you've been following the story. Connor and I listen to McGraw in the morning, and every other day he complains about
very
these
casually.
things. But the deal is not that they're here. The deal is that they're not legal.
They're unregulated,
They're
right?
unregulated. They're not legal. They're not getting taxed. And when you ask, a former AG, what is his name? Now he's the co-deputy director
Bailey.
of the FBI, Andrew Bailey. You ask him, what are these things legal or not? He kind of does the wop. Well, it's a claw machine, a gambling machine. You put money in that,
And then you said, "Don't you answer a question with a question?"
Well, McGraw had him on, and he
McGraw
brings Andrew Bailey brings up the claw machine technically could be a gambling machine. It's like no,
I can't.
it's not. These things are, and they could be. Just have Congress make a decision, or not Congress, but the state legislator have them make a decision. The most frustrating thing about these gambling machines is that they won't do anything.
Right.
Just pass them into law, make them legal, regulate them,
Tax
them, and
Well, part of the problem is making them legal means that the people that operate them make less money.
Well, and
This is one of the things. The Missouri Gaming Board sets the rate at what slot machines have to pay out at. It's like, it has to pay out 95 cents for $1.
yes,
And when you run these illegal slot machines,
you can pick your own rate.
you can just set your own rate. Well, no, I'm only going to have it pay out 75 cents for every dollar.
Yeah, you could pick zero if you
You can
wanted.
pick zero. You can have it never win.
Nobody will.
No one will use it,
People will
presumably.
stop playing. Yeah,
So they just make more money because they're running these unregulated
their own.
slots. Yeah.
but yes,
Can we make comparisons between these unregulated slots and stills, white lightning? Making booze
the rum runners.
without being taxed.
Yeah.
Although there's a law against it. So, they were always breaking the law, but they make more money. They, because they're avoiding the tax people. And
is it true that those bootleggers, that's how NASCAR started, or
Yes.
is that a tall tale? Is there truth to that?
Well, I wasn't there.
Right.
Hard to believe. But supposedly that's basically how it got
That's
started.
the lore. That's the folklore. Anyway, there's a lawsuit accusing these gambling machines of stealing people's money. And once this thing is said and done, it might force the legislature's hand here in Missouri to finally make a decision on these things. And also, Ryan Kroll's got a story. Bitcoin bought a house here in St. Louis. He'll tell us how that's working. If you live next door to the Bitcoin house, you're not very happy. But it's all in this long line of the big hedge funds buying up neighborhood houses and turning around and renting them out.
Ah,
and people, well, I don't want a whole neighborhood of rented houses. I want people to own them and have some
families
sort of
and whatever
stake in whatever. So Bitcoin bought a house in St. Louis. We'll hear all about that. Like I said, Brendan Weesey's going to join us at 4:50, and then in the 5 o'clock hour, Alex Stone is going to talk to us. Prime Day is here, which it felt like Prime Day was just here. Didn't we just have one of these?
They do more than one, right?
Now it feels like they're doing one every quarter. So is it something to be excited about if they start happening all the time? Alex will give us a skinny on that. Bob, you got any Hollywood stories that you'll share with us in the 5?
That's my job.
That's his job.
Speaking of CBS Sunday, I forgot a couple things. They had a great bit on Miley Cyrus. They had another terrific story on Yusuf Cat Stevens.
Oh, yeah.
And because remember, we were talking last week, for whatever reason, we brought it up that he had written
First Cut is the Deepest.
And he was on, and it was pretty interesting. And Daniel Day-Lewis, very entertainment-oriented this Sunday, and it was all very good, very interesting.
You can text us 84126. Someone said if a claw machine is gambling, that means Chuck E. Cheese is a casino. Well, I guess
They do suck all your money out of your pockets.
It's also by the quarter. Let's...
Somebody said I go to the bank all the time. Whoever texted that from the 314, please text me back and tell me why and what you're doing there. And then somebody else said the post office is half closed every day anyway.
That seems mean. Not inaccurate necessarily, but mean.
I'm going to get to this as my headline, but speaking of the post office being closed almost every other day, the Post-Dispatch will no longer have a newspaper on Mondays. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
Not like they're not doing delivery, not like they're not doing...
They're just not printing.
They're not printing a Monday paper, and I'll tell you when that's going to start and why. But, the state of newspapers these days, now they're saying, you know what, we're in such dire straits that one whole day a week, we're just not going to print anything.
No News Monday.
Yeah, exactly. I wonder if they give the reporters the day off or what. It is 3:26. We're going to go to commercial break, come back, do traffic, and then have Matthew Restall, The 9 Lives of Christopher Columbus. Columbus Day is next Monday. Let's talk about the new book that's coming out and is already on bookshelves.
Hey, it's Jill Farmer for Premier Heating and Cooling. St. Louis winters don't mess around, and neither should you. When those freezing temps hit, the last thing you want to do is discover your furnace isn't up to the job. That's why now is the perfect time to call Premier Heating and Cooling. Their certified technicians will give your system a full checkup, making sure it's safe, efficient, and ready to keep your family warm all season long. Think of it like an oil change for your car. A little preventative care now saves you from big, expensive breakdowns later. Plus, a tuned-up system runs more efficiently, which means lower energy bills when the cold really sets in. So don't wait until you're shivering under 3 blankets. Schedule your heating inspection today with Premier Heating and Cooling. Excellent rating with the Better Business Bureau. So many of their new customers are referred by happy customers like me. PremierHeatingCooling.net, 636-916-1122.
Let's talk about high school for just a moment, because that young man you brought home from the hospital yesterday, you're going to blink your eyes, and all of a sudden now you start talking about high schools. Well, that's where St. Mary's Southside Catholic High School comes in, because it's an all-boys, independent Catholic high school. And what St. Mary's will do is they will prepare your son to be the future. Whether it's college, trade work, or a career of their choice, St. Mary's, over the years, has produced a whole lot of millionaires and a couple of billionaires along the way. And when you graduate from St. Mary's, you have that alumni as a resource. Schedule your visit today and find out more about St. Mary's. stmaryshs.com. That's stmaryshs.com. They will teach the skills that are needed to thrive and survive in the 21st century, as well as teaching old school values. To find out more, stmaryshs.com. That's stmaryshs.com.
Andy from Hats and Stuff. Well, 30 years ago this month, I started Hats and Stuff in the Del Mar Loop, and sadly, it's time to announce that I'm retiring at the end of this year and closing the Westport Plaza location. I do intend to continue operating at the Soulard Farmers Market on Saturdays going forward. I want to thank all of my thousands of customers who have supported Hats and Stuff in making it a very successful business venture for me and the many people who have worked for me over the past 30 years. We couldn't have done it without you. So, we're going to kick off the retirement sale by making all the St. Louis City SC ball caps, beanies, scarves, and more just $10 while they last, as well as all St. Louis Cardinal t-shirts, just $10. So come by the store and take advantage of these great deals. Located at Westport Plaza across from the Drunken Fish and the Kobe Steakhouse and the Soulard Farmers Market on Saturdays. Hats and Stuff. Good stuff at really great prices.
Hats and Stuff. Hats and Stuff. Hats and Stuff. Hats and Stuff. Hats and Stuff.
If you're looking for your next home, think of First Community. Our Smart Choice Home Loan offers a 30-year fixed rate of just 6.531% APR to qualified borrowers, and you only need a down payment of 10%. Whether it's your first home, your forever home, or even a vacation home, be smart with a Smart Choice loan from First Community for all your savings and all your loans. Must qualify for membership. For terms and conditions, call toll-free 1-888-642-7969. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing lender.
Have you seen all the 5-star reviews Michael's Baths has gotten on Google? How about their A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau? Everyone, including the nanny, raves about Michael's friendly office staff and their experienced installation team. With over 30 years of experience, all they do is bathrooms. They're not trying to be the biggest. They just want to be the best. Right now, get a free shower door or $500 off your bathroom remodel. Call Michael's Baths, 636-775-0800 or michaelsbaths.com.
So you call your virtual insurance company to ask a simple question about your policy, but now you're on hold listening to this music while you wait and wait. Auto Owners works with local independent agents who tailor coverage to meet your needs and pick up the phone when you call, because you shouldn't be on hold so long that you memorize the music. That's simple human sense.
Ask First Mid Insurance in St. Peters if Auto Owners make sense for you.
So it's time to get our first check of traffic in the KTRS Traffic Center. Our buddy Captain Paul Kopsky. Paul?
Yeah, okay, thanks, Bob. Northbound 170 is closed between I-70 and the Scudder-Hanley exit due to an accident that happened over 2 hours ago. The ramp to westbound 70 is closed and the ramp to eastbound 70 is open. Traffic is backed up to St. Charles Rock Road. There's road work on westbound 5570 with the 2 right lanes closed between Fairmount and Illinois 111, causing a slowdown. And the ramp from eastbound 370 to 270 South is closed for pavement repairs. That closure is expected to last through Friday. This traffic report is brought to you by Neighbors Credit Union. Check out the Neighbors Credit Union Debit All-Day account, a checklist checking account featuring a Neighbors Visa debit card, the convenience of online and mobile banking, and access to your direct deposits up to 2 days early. Online at neighborscu.org. Federally insured by NCUA. Membership eligibility required. From the KTRS Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
Somewhere beyond the sea, somewhere waiting for me, my lover stands on golden sands.
Welcome back to the show. Columbus Day is coming up. It'll be next Monday. And the question these days, do we call it Columbus Day? Do we call it Indigenous Peoples Day? Should we just create a holiday to honor Italian Americans? Because the legacy of Christopher Columbus It's kind of been thrown up in the air. It's not kind of what we learned in grade school, Bob. I mean, remember, 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Cartoons were made. It's a children's story, but the real story is actually quite more adult than that. There's a new book out, The 9 Lives of Christopher Columbus. Author Matthew Restall is a history professor at Penn State University. Matthew, thanks for joining the show. Thanks for writing this book.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So what is the story of Christopher Columbus? And maybe we just start with what's the story we learned in grade school?
Yeah, well, the story that you learn in grade school is only part of the story. And here, let's kind of leap straight into the point of the book here. The book's called The 9 Lives of Christopher Columbus because I'm arguing that there are many Columbuses. And that just to begin with, you have to recognize how many different Columbuses there are, when they're created, who creates them, why, what is their relationship. That's just kind of a starting point. And once we begin there, then that whole traditional story kind of starts to crumble a little bit because you realize that there are pieces of it that are real, that are actually from the historic Columbus, and then there are pieces that are invented hundreds of years later.
So as I read through the notes preparing for the interview, Josh and I are both big history buffs. I thought it was interesting that here's a very normal kid, unremarkable. I think the word was in the notes and then he ends up at the king and queen's court in Spain. How does a guy who just kind of becomes a sailor end up there? Is that one of the main lives that we're talking about of the 9?
Yeah, as I set out to write the book, right, the idea for the 9 lives actually came kind of from the end point, thinking about 19th, 20th century statues and the battles over them today. And I as I kind of went back in time to the beginning, I thought, I'm going to approach this guy with an open mind here, right? I wasn't coming at it with a preconceived notion that I liked him or hated him or anything like that or who he was. Mm-hmm. And I realized that there's really this dividing line in the middle of his life of 1492. And before that, he is an ordinary guy. He's just another Genoese merchant sailor, not particularly successful, kind of bouncing around, trying to, find his way in that world. And then everything changes for him. Now, the traditional story is, well, it changes because he's a genius. Right? He's brilliant. He's got this vision that no one else has. That's the traditional narrative.
Right.
That he's the guy who figures it all out. Even the story that not many people believe nowadays, but they did for most of the 19th and 20th century, which is that people thought the earth was flat and he figured out it was round, right? We know now that that's not true at all. Everybody knew it was round. But what I realize is that this change it happens because of the voyage that he takes, but that voyage happens because of thousands of other people. That all during his lifetime there are Portuguese and Spaniards and Italians sailing further and further out into the Atlantic. There's even English fishermen from Bristol. They're getting further and further out into the Atlantic, closer and closer to the Americas. They're going island by island, gradually settling. If there are already people on those islands, they're conquering those islands. And it's just a matter of time before that movement of peoples across the Atlantic bumps into the Caribbean. And it just happens to be him. And if he had, gotten a bad cold the day before and not made the voyage, I'm being kind of facetious, but you get my point.
Yeah.
Someone else would have done it, and it would have happened, I would argue, within a matter of years. He's 1492. I would say it would have been sometime in the 1490s, 1500 at the very latest. Now that that gets a bit into somewhat controversial territory, but I think the first thing we want to think about, Columbus as the historic guy is maybe he's not responsible for human history since 1492. Maybe it's not just about him. Maybe if we can kind of step back from that, we can have a better understanding of these larger forces, which if you guys are history nuts, you're going to know all about those larger forces. I don't need to tell you about the history of imperialism and
Right.
so on.
But he's been made a folk hero out of, like Jesse James and Paul Bunyan and Christopher Columbus. You said if he got a cold, he might have canceled the trip and somebody else would have done it. But his name is on everything. Columbia, Missouri, here, Columbus, Ohio. Every state probably has a Columbia or a Columbus or something. The country, before Lady Liberty in the New York Harbor, the personification of the United States was a woman named Columbia. His name is on everything. It's hard to imagine someone else discovering it and someone else's name being everywhere.
Just for a few kind of twists and turns of history, and this country would be called the United States of Columbia or some version of that. And there are efforts to name it that. There are sort of campaigns to do that. So we have to go all the way back 250 years to the beginning of the United States and see already there's the beginning of this notion that George Washington is the father of the nation and Christopher Columbus is the grandfather, if you like, right? And so I refer to him as the Adam figure, and I didn't make that up. I found that the references to him as an Adam all the way back in 18th century literature. And it's right there in the name of the capital, right? The city of Washington in the District of Columbia. Yeah. And that's the two names right there side by side. And there are attempts even in the early 19th century to say, look, let's not name our country after Amerigo Vespucci because he didn't actually discover America. Columbus did. So let's change it, right? That's how kind of important he is as a figure. But see, here's the thing is what we're now talking about is not the historic Columbus. Now we're talking about the Columbus who, in my 9 lives, is life number 8. This is the Adam. This is or I usually refer to him as the American Columbus. So he is a remade Columbus who is iconic hero and a symbol of American patriotism. And he's a figure that slowly builds during the 19th century. The phenomenon you're talking about, there are hundreds and hundreds of public places, rivers, buildings, institutions, and so on named after him all across the United States, more than everywhere else in the world put together. Right? This country becomes kind of the great Columbian country, but it's not really about that Genoese sailor. It's about the new American Columbus who's being created. And that's where the confusion comes in, because he's not the only one. Then there's another American Columbus who gets created later on, like 100 years later. Now we're in the late 19th century, and that's the Italian American Columbus.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And then Columbus Day.
With the parades and everything.
Yeah, so they overlap, and it's confusing. And I was confused until I did the research, and I thought, okay, I'm confused by this. And then when I realized that there's these two different Columbuses and the ways in which they overlap and sometimes compete and clash, and sometimes they don't. I need to be able to explain this to other people. So Life 8 is the American Columbus, and Life 9 is the Italian American Columbus. And I hope it's clear when when people read these chapters to see, oh, I see, these are these two Columbuses, which is why people are fighting. The Italian Americans say, well, why are you attacking our Columbus? And they're actually not attacking the Italian American Columbus. They're attacking the American Columbus, which was created in the 19th century very much as a hero of a certain kind of vision of America, right?
Right.
I mean, it's a vision that's not particularly, it's not friendly to indigenous peoples. In fact, the symbolism of it is very much indigenous peoples must be civilized or destroyed. And it doesn't really include immigrants and enslaved Africans and folks who, fast forward 150 years, are mad about Columbus as that kind of symbol. It makes perfect sense.
So, Matthew, let's do a little myth busting, or at least cleaning up some of these things that we think we know. First of all, and you touched on it, people on our air have heard it a million times, but I used to think I was Native American. I found out 60 years later that I wasn't, but it doesn't change my perception and my affinity for Native peoples. And so you touched on what is maybe one of the biggest controversial things about Columbus now. And so tell us, was he an oppressive colonizer as he hit the Caribbean islands and sort of dominated there? What's the real truth?
Yeah, so this is a really core, tricky issue that I try and tackle in the book. So there's sort of two key things to say. One is, if we look closely at Columbus, are we going to find him to be a progressive figure who does not think indigenous peoples should be enslaved or invaded and so on? Absolutely not. No. So it's hard to defend what he does in the Caribbean from a modern point of view, right? This is someone who absolutely believes he has the God-given right. He believes he is God's agent to come in and claim these lands, and if need be, round people up and put them on ships and ship them back to be slaves in Europe. So from a modern point of view, he doesn't come across very well, and in fact, I found him to be not a monstrous, horrific person, but to be somewhat unlikable. He's incredibly narcissistic. So that's the first thing. Let's just, we can talk more about what he's like. The second thing is, this does not make him unusual in any way. And that's really important, because if we kind of fixate on Columbus as the instigator of a genocide, as the beginning of the decline of indigenous population in the Americas, it's going to fall 70 to 90% in the next 100 years. If we fixate on him, we kind of miss the larger process. We miss understanding how this comes about. And it's not about him. It's about all the waves of Europeans who are coming to the Americas, absolutely, unquestioningly believing that these new territories are there. It's their right to take them and do what they need to do, whatever they want to do with indigenous peoples, build colonies upon their homes and so on, enslave them if need be. So I think, yes, Columbus is a controversial historical figure in that way, but the sooner we step away from him and put him in the larger historical context and understand these processes of invasion and imperialism and colonization and so on, I think we get kind of closer to understanding what really happened.
Mm-hmm.
So what did happen? He landed where? He goes
landed
back
in the Caribbean. Yeah, there's a lot of sort of arguments about which exactly little island he landed on. It's probably an island called variously called Watling's Island or San Salvador in the Bahamas. It doesn't really matter exactly where it is. The point is, where he lands is the Caribbean, and therefore for the next 30 years it's going to be Spaniards who are colonizing the Caribbean islands and attempting to build colonies there. And that effort to build colonies upon indigenous communities, because that's the Spanish aim, not to wipe them out. They're not supposed to be enslaving them. They want them to be subjects of these new colonies. It doesn't go very well. There's massive mortality from disease. Indigenous peoples in the Caribbean are not used to living in fully settled communities. They don't build cities of stone and that kind of thing. And so out of frustration and in kind of a desperate effort to make some money and to pay for the voyages of exploration and invasion, they enslave indigenous peoples in by the thousands, and then the tens, and then eventually hundreds of thousands. So it goes very badly. The story of colonization in the Americas is going to then shift as we move beyond Columbus, the Spaniards discovering the Aztec Empire and the Inca Empire, and then the British coming in and so on. So, it's a big, big story that very quickly gets away from Columbus.
The 9 Lives of Christopher Columbus by Matthew Restall. Thank you so much for joining us, and I guess we'll spend next Monday kind of perusing the book.
That would be awesome. Thank you so much for letting me. You can tell I'm excited about the project. So, thanks for letting me talk your ears off about it.
You're welcome, Matthew. Thanks for joining us.
All right. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.
Bye.
This is Mariah, third generation at Newsteaders Fine Jewelry. Buying an engagement ring can be intimidating. At Newsteaders, we ensure complete understanding of your purchase. We offer a choice in both lab and mine-grown diamonds and are able to work with any budget. Let our family help educate you on your choice at Big Ben and Doherty Ferry or at wowdiamonds.com.
You know, St. Louis is home to so many fantastic institutions, one of those being SSM Health Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital. It's not a place that you ever want to be, but if your child gets sick, it is the best of the best. And I'm talking the best doctors, the best surgeons, the best nurses, the best therapists, even the best cafeteria, because what they do is really wrap their arms around the child and the family to make you feel like, you know what, we're all going to get through this together. Now, each year, donor support allows Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital to really invest in the future, to make sure that they have those program enhancements to keep them in the top of the top hospitals, the facility updates, but most importantly, the charity care, because they are never turning a child away. And you can actually feel good about that. You can do a little something if you want to. You can make a small donation or a big one. You can read about all of the fantastic programs and get some of the inspiring stories at Glennon.org.
You can count on Cantor. I'm Mark Cantor. When I was 12 years old, I witnessed my father, a pediatric doctor at Cardinal Glennon Hospital, suffer a terrible accident when a large and defective battery exploded in his face. My father went into shock and had to undergo emergency surgery to save his life. While my dad recovered, he hired a lawyer who promised that no one else would be hurt by that company's product, and he filed a lawsuit to make sure no one did. I love my dad, and what he went through inspired me to become a lawyer and to start Cantor Injury Law. Like my father, I serve the St. Louis community, and I have done so for over 30 years. You can count on Cantor to treat you like family, to understand your case and your injury, and to fight for you. You can count on Cantor to help make things right. Visit CantorInjuryLaw.com or find us on Facebook or call us at 314-628-9999. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision, should not be based solely upon advertisement, so call Cantor.
Galmish & Sons have been providing quality heating and cooling services since 1950. They work exclusively with Lennox, the preferred choice of St. Louis homeowners. Call Galmish & Sons for your next Lennox HVAC installation and service. 314-993-1110.
You're selling your home, and I want to buy it. This is Mike Robinson with Robank Properties, and I am ready to pay top dollar for your home. No contingencies, no inspections, no monkey business. I buy your home no matter the condition or location, and you walk away with cash. Call me, Mike Robinson, at 314-283-0867, 314-283-0867, or at robangproperties.com. That's ROBANG properties.com.
Meep, meep.
Take a look at traffic with Captain Paul Kopsky. Coming up after that, though, Peter Harlambus from ABC is going to give us an update on what's going on with the National Guard. So stick around for that. But first, Captain.
Josh, the latest is an accident on southbound 270 at McDonald, blocking the two left lanes with traffic jammed back to Lindbergh. Northbound 170 is still closed between I-70 and the Scudder-Hanley exit due to an accident. The ramp from westbound 70 is closed and the ramp to eastbound 70 is open. Traffic is backed up to St. Charles Rock Road. A stalled vehicle is blocking the two left lanes of northbound 55 at 4500 South Broadway. And there's road work on westbound 5570 with the two right lanes closed between Fairmount and Illinois 111, and that's causing a slowdown. This traffic report is brought to you by Dents Express. Drive time can be hectic with traffic, weather, and fender benders. Dents Express can help with hassle-free dent removal, minor collision repair, and hail damage repair. Free evaluations, and they take care of the insurance paperwork. They've got two locations on Manchester and Baldwin and in St. Charles. Dents Express, STL.com. From the KTRS Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
Well, the National Guard's being deployed to a number of cities and a number of states, and Peter Harlambus, ABC News investigative reporter, is here to share the updates. I know sitting back at my desk just 20 minutes ago, got another alert that something's moving in Illinois. There's a lawsuit going on. Peter, what's the latest?
Yeah, it's really a flurry of legal activity at this point. We understand that there is an entire flight of Texas National Guard troops en route any moment now towards Illinois, where they'd be deployed into Chicago. This comes as both Illinois and Chicago are suing the Trump administration to block that deployment. For now, a federal judge hasn't stopped it, so it's possible we see those troops deployed as early as tomorrow. This is all coming as we're seeing kind of a similar legal fight play out in Portland, though in that case, a federal judge actually did block those troops from being deployed, and that includes any National Guard, whether that be from Texas, or California, or Oregon.
Yeah, that's interesting. And so, Peter, from afar, it seems like that the motivation for National Guard troops has changed. D.C., it was crime generally, and this seems to be more about at least from the administration's point of view, air quotes, protecting ICE facilities and officers. Is that accurate?
Yeah. So in this case, in both Portland and Chicago, the troops, if they are deployed, will be limited to protecting federal personnel and federal buildings. So unlike D.C., where it's a more general law enforcement capacity, these troops in Chicago and in Portland and in L.A., for example, are very limited in terms of what they can actually do. The problem, though, is, according to some judges, the Trump administration is exaggerating how big the problem is. At least in Portland, the federal judge on Saturday said the Trump administration's claims about lawlessness in the city were just detached from reality, and that ultimately the president's unable to justify a federalization of the National Guard because there just isn't an insurrection or rebellion that would justify it.
And Peter, when they went to D.C., we heard talk that I know Bob just kind of brought this up a little bit. We heard talk that just their presence alone was hoping to deter crime, but they couldn't really do anything. They don't have arresting powers. Most of them were unarmed. What's the latest on that? What can they do in Portland and Chicago if they go in there?
Yeah, so when deployed, they could theoretically execute an arrest, but only if it was in the context of protecting a federal agent or protecting a federal building. So, generally speaking, they can't really do that much. And if they do engage in too much domestic law enforcement, it becomes new grounds for a lawsuit because that theoretically violates the Posse Comitatus Act, which prohibits domestic law enforcement by troops. So the presence is something, and the fact that they're there is kind of a visible statement, and that's been effective according to the Trump administration. But from day-to-day operations, these are not troops that are trained in law enforcement. They have limited training in crowd control. So, not only are they limited in terms of what they can do, the effectiveness of their abilities is also kind of in doubt.
So you've got Illinois, California, Oregon. These are blue states with Democratic governors, but they've talked about Memphis as well, which is in a red state, Tennessee, with a Republican governor. Has there been any pushback to the idea of the National Guard going to Memphis?
Yeah, so in that case, it gets a little different. While the Democratic leaders of some of those cities might oppose the National Guard from going into their cities, the governor is the one who controls the deployment of the National Guard. So in the case of something like the Memphis deployment, you're actually getting sign-off from the governor who's cool with it and who does not mind Trump taking over the National Guard to send them into a city to quell unrest or just ensure general lawfulness. The reason it becomes tricky and kind of a legal battle is these Democratic cities and these Democratic states, they kind of have veto power. If a governor does not sign off on deploying the National Guard, it becomes a whole issue where the president needs to point to an insurrection, a rebellion, or some kind of invasion to justify kind of overruling the governor. So, once the governor objects, it becomes a much higher bar.
Get into a little bit of an opinion based on your reporting, and that is, so let's say the lawsuits are successful, the president pulls back those National Guard troops, and does anyone think that would embolden those who are anti-ICE, whether it's Antifa or some other group, or just individuals? And if a facility or an officer were then injured or worse, would that allow the president to come back in? I just feel like both sides might be walking a little bit of a tightrope.
Yeah, certainly it's a tightrope, and the stakes here couldn't be higher. And that you're talking about life or death in some cases here when it comes to this unrest, whether that be the safety of a federal agent or the safety of a protester. What judges, though, seem to be concerned about, and this is kind of coming up in cases across the country, is that if this becomes too commonplace, the idea of sending in troops to quell unrest, even if it isn't that notable of unrest, it can create a really troubling precedent where basically you're having our military engaging in domestic law enforcement, and you're mixing the boundary between martial law and civil law. And that's something that's kind of sacrosanct in the Constitution and becomes a huge problem if this becomes the norm, where you're basically seeing troops engaging in law enforcement on every major city in the United States.
Peter Haralambous, ABC News, thanks for joining us and giving us the latest on what's going down up in Chicago and in Portland. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me.
Having a home is fun, but it is adulting. And at times there are going to be things that have to be redone or maybe even remodeled. And when it's time to do that, look no further than Dalco Home Remodeling, because they can do a little bit of everything. They custom make doors and windows, and they do it right here in the Show Me State. They can do sliding doors, they can do beautiful French doors, and they can do front doors. And let's be honest, that front door is the first thing that everybody sees. So if you want to make a great first impression, call Dalco Home Remodeling. Now, they can also do energy-saving vinyl replacement windows. They can redo your roof. They can even redo your siding or remodel a complete bathroom. So call Dalco Home Remodeling, 314-648-8113, or go online. You can see some of the great projects they've done, dalcohomeremodeling.com.
Want to get away in your own hometown? How about Innsbruck? Just 45 minutes from St. Louis, 7,500 acres, 100-plus lakes, 18-hole championship golf course, nature trails, event spaces, and so much more. Wedding venues, wedding weekends, corporate retreats. They've got A-frames and tree houses and custom homes. In fact, they have a fall home tour going on Saturday, October 18th from noon to 4. We'll see you there. To find out more, Innsbruck-resort.com.
The Big 550.
KTRS, St. Louis.
From ABC News. I'm Lindsay Davis, anchor of Prime, streaming weeknights on ABC News Live. As the government shutdown drags on, President Trump said,
"We have a negotiation going on right now with the Democrats that could lead to very good things."
Democrats want to roll back cuts to Medicaid and extend health insurance subsidies. Justice Department lawyers said National Guard troops will depart Texas today, headed for Illinois, but did not say where they will go. The admission came during a hearing over the Illinois lawsuit seeking to stop the Trump administration from deploying troops to Chicago. A judge declined to immediately block the deployment. Governor J.B. Pritzker said troops are being used as political props.
The Trump administration is following a playbook: cause chaos, create fear and confusion, make it seem like peaceful protesters are a mob by firing gas pellets and tear gas canisters at them. Why? To create the pretext for invoking the Insurrection Act.
The Trump administration says it will appeal a federal judge's decision in Oregon blocking troop deployments to Portland. Tomorrow marks 2 years since Hamas attacked Israel, and right now in Egypt, indirect talks have begun, focused on the first stage of a U.S. proposal that calls on Hamas to release all hostages and a partial withdrawal of Israeli forces. Mick Mulroy is an ABC News national security and defense analyst.
This is, I think, the last best chance of a ceasefire and a potential long-term peace. If this falls apart, then we're going down the wrong route, which would be a continuation of this horrible war.
President Trump's Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff and the president's son-in-law Jared Kushner are part of the U.S. delegation in Egypt. Fifth Third Bancorp announced plans to acquire Comerica for nearly $11 billion in an all-stock deal. When the deal closes, it will create the 9th largest U.S. bank with approximately $288 billion in assets. The Nasdaq soared 161 points to join the S&P at a new record high. You're listening to ABC News.
Early detection is crucial in the fight against breast cancer. Surprisingly, even in women of average risk, abnormalities can be found. So even if you don't think you are at risk, screening is essential to prevention and saving lives. The Show Me Healthy Women program offers free breast and cervical cancer screenings to women ages 21 through 64 free of charge if you qualify. Please visit our website at health.mo.gov/showmehealthywomen or call toll-free 866-726-9926 for more information and to see if you qualify.
Dr. Joe, it can get very confusing, but the one thing we need to know is GLP-1, right? That's the magic cure.
Yeah, they're on the med, and these medications are used, these GLP-1s, for reducing inflammation in your body. I get so many folks that are like, wow, I don't have the knee pain. I don't have the...
Because once you start losing weight, all these other things naturally happen to you in a positive way. Not just talk about the deals for KTRS listeners at stlmedweightloss.com.
All KTRS listeners, they get $50 to $100 off their first month. And what's beautiful about it, too, hey, I get it. The economy, what we just had, guys, things are difficult right now, but we make the plan work for you. We have financing options. We make this work for you because we realize how important it is to get down in your weight, get your confidence back, and really start feeling like the old you.
Call stlmedweightloss.com and ask Dr. Joe. stlmedweightloss.com.
84 degrees at 4:03 with KTRS News. I'm Steve Potter. There is now new ballot language for an amendment that would ban most abortions in Missouri. Secretary of State Denny Hoskins submitted a second revision of the ballot language following an order from Cole County Judge Daniel Green. The amendment will be on the November 2026 ballot. Today, the Supreme Court refused to revive a controversial Missouri gun law that bans police from enforcing some federal firearms laws. The High Court rejected a push to hear arguments over whether the state can block police from enforcing federal gun laws that don't have an equivalent state law. A federal appeals court is ordering Michael Madigan to report to prison next week while he appeals his conviction in his corruption case. The 7th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals denied a request by the former Illinois House Speaker to be granted bail. Madigan must report to federal prison October 13th to begin a 7.5-year sentence behind bars after he was found guilty in February of bribery and other corruption charges. University of Missouri and local officials are getting a first-hand look at potential public safety issues in downtown Columbia. Boone County's prosecutor and local business owners held a walkthrough of downtown Columbia over the weekend. That follows the recent shooting death downtown of a Stevens College student. And Governor Mike Kehoe has announced the release of recommended rule updates for Missouri's parole process.
Under the direction of Governor Mike Kehoe's executive order signed during the Safer Missouri launch on day one of his administration, the Missouri Department of Corrections and the Missouri Parole Board assembled a working group to develop proposed rule changes. The working group consists of representatives of law enforcement, corrections, the judiciary, and the public. The review found that several updates were needed to comply with state statute, including updating minimum parole eligibility requirements to reflect the current so-called Blue Book. The review also includes several other recommendations, such as removing unnecessary and outdated regulations and updating the hearing process to allow for up to 2 delegates who may provide additional information on rehabilitation efforts or barriers to release. Jill Enders, KTRS News.
This KTRS Business Minute brought to you by Walter Knoll Florist, the place for all your floral needs. Place your order anytime at WKF.com. Changes are coming to the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. The paper has announced it will no longer print Monday editions. That will begin on November the 3rd. Monday editions will now only be offered in a digital format. Time now for the markets, brought to you by JBL Financial. Tune into Straight Talk and Retirement Saturday mornings, which will air 2 hours earlier this Saturday from 7 until 9 a.m. At close, the Dow down 63 points at 46,695, NASDAQ up 163 at 22,944, and the S&P 500 up 24 at 6,740. Now for sports and traffic, let's check in with Paul.
Mizzou football was idle this weekend, but still managed to move up 5 spots to number 14 in the latest Associated Press poll. The Tigers take on number 8 Alabama Saturday starting at 9 a.m. here on the Big 550. And Illinois football moved up 5 spots to number 17 in the latest Associated Press poll after winning 42-27 at Purdue. Next up for the Illini, they host number 1 Ohio State on Saturday. I'm Paul Kopsky from the Royal Banks of Missouri Sports Desk, and now on to traffic. An accident on southbound 270 at McDonald is blocking the two left lanes with traffic jammed back to Lindbergh. Northbound 170 is still closed between I-70 and the Scudder-Hanley exit due to an accident. The ramp to westbound 70 is closed and the ramp to eastbound 70 is open. Traffic is backed up past St. Charles Rock Road. A stalled vehicle is blocking the two left lanes of northbound 55 at 4500 South Broadway. And there's road work on westbound 5570 with the two right lanes closed between Fairmount and Illinois 111. That's causing a slowdown. From the KTRS Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
We have a 30% chance for rain today, mainly after 5 p.m. and overnight low in the mid-60s. Cooler tomorrow, a slight chance of rain with tomorrow's high around 73. At 8 minutes past 4 o'clock, mostly sunny, 84 degrees at the Gold Tower at Westport. Steve Potter, KTRS News, the talk of St. Louis.
You are a successful electrical contractor, but you plus a dedicated team supporting your project from day one? That's taking your productivity to the next level. And Graybar can help you get there. Your relationships plus our relationships. Your capabilities plus our job site services. Your challenges plus our technical specialists. You alone can get the job done. But you plus Graybar, that's smart business. Yep, Graybar does that.
Since 1974, Permajack of St. Louis has been helping residential and commercial owners protect their biggest investment. From successfully solving foundation structural problems to making sure basements remain dry, Permajack has performed tens of thousands of projects on both sides of the river, utilizing state-of-the-art technology, techniques, and equipment. Permajack of St. Louis has done it with honesty and integrity, never recommending anything outside of what you really need. For many repairs, Permajack provides a transferable life of structure warranty, all while Permajack of St. Louis has earned a BBB A+ rating and accreditation. For foundation settlement, bowed or buckling walls, cracks in your foundation, walls or bricks, or basement waterproofing, choose the hometown family-owned team at Permajack of St. Louis. Schedule your free inspection and estimate at permajackofstlewis.com. That's permajackofstlewis.com. Permajack. Solid as rock.
You're listening to the Heidi Glaus Show with Josh Gilbert and Bob Ramsey on the Big 550 KTRS.
Our headlines on a Monday, October 6th. Bob and Josh here. Heidi out. She'll be back tomorrow. The St. Louis Post-Dispatch is ending its Monday paper as subscriptions plummet. The Post-Dispatch said Friday that it will be ending its Monday print edition effective November 3rd.
How am I going to wrap the fish?
And go digital only.
That was a mean joke. I apologize. I have many friends at the Post-Dispatch. I was just kidding.
Is the RFT's done too, right? They're not really a thing anymore. Are there any papers left in this town?
Well, not on Mondays.
The change to our Monday publication will help us focus our resources and time on the products readers are using the most, and our commitment to local news has not changed. That's what the executive editor, Alan Akar, said as he announced the move. The newspaper saw its weekly print subscription decrease 91% since 2005. 91%.
I believe it.
It went from 281,000 to 24,000.
You know, it's the chicken and the egg thing. Speaking as a consumer, you know, I subscribed to the paper for many, many years, but the paper got lesser and lesser and thinner and thinner,
so
but the
thin.
prices went up and up, and it finally hit a breaking point for me, and I think that represents a lot of the newspaper consumers.
And that's one of the things that I have a question about. You know, we give out the Big 550 for free. All you got to do is have a radio and turn us on. So we can say, hey, we broadcast and everybody's tuning in, and then sell advertising that way. If you just gave out the Post-Dispatch like they did with the RFT, could you justify that?
I don't know how
selling
that
advertising?
I don't know how that would work. Yeah, I don't know.
When it comes to Cardinal games, I can't watch him because I don't have Fox Sports Midwest or whatever it's called. But if they just gave it out for free, could they sell more advertising, get more eyeballs watching this thing? I don't know how you solve this, and it's nothing unique to St. Louis.
No, it's the business.
It is the business. Last week, Lee Enterprises, that they own the Post-Dispatch, they shuttered its food magazine, Feast, and laid off the publication's entire staff. And they closed its printing press in January and have outsourced the printing of the newspaper, and they laid off 72 employees.
That's,
when they
to
did
me,
that.
that's the hard part, the people part of it.
Right. And good friend Ben Fred worked at the Post-Dispatch for years and got out of the newspaper business.
My friend Stu Durando left the Post. He was a beat writer for a long, long time. He's still a beat writer, but he does his own thing on Substack. Stu on Slew.
Oh, really?
And it's terrific. I think his he's able to give Billiken fans more product, deeper product, and maybe that Substack thing for really good reporters like Stu Durando and the others who cover various sports, that might be the answer in the future of it.
Direct to consumer.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
You like what you read, pay me directly.
Yes.
And what are those things, Connor? Patreon. These are apps out there where if you're a content creator, I guess you could just use Venmo. You could put your Venmo link.
Do you
and
follow
just say,
anybody on Substack, Connor?
I don't, but of course that's a very common way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you just say, hey, if you like what
Patreon as well, as I'd say, it's probably a little bit more common because it also isn't just writing. If you do like videos.
That's
or,
right. That's exactly right.
Hey, if you like these videos, if you like my writings on sports or whatever, and you want to help me eat and continue to do this, so, you just donate some money. By the way, at Josh Gilbert on Venmo.
Oh,
but
really?
what will you be giving us?
Well, a little bit of this.
Content.
More of this.
Content.
A little bit of that. Somebody on the text line 84126 said the Post-Dispatch story about No Monday edition is horrible. Nursing home residents love reading the paper.
They do.
and
I do.
Yeah.
Well, I'm right at that age, aren't I? You didn't have to say it. I did.
I didn't say it. They say they won't understand the digital way to read the newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
It affects all kind of people that don't get the internet and they just don't like to read a newspaper online.
Right. That's right.
So we'll see what happens from here. But
there are those of us that like to actually hold the book, hold the newspaper, hold the magazine.
Since 2005, subscriptions down 91%.
That's a tough answer.
You almost have to say, well, yeah, maybe get rid of Tuesday too.
I don't know. I've got a bunch of stories, but this one came to me today, and I wanted to for sure mention it. We always talk, not always, but everyone's aware of the Musial Awards. It's a great program. It's nationally renowned. This year, they announced that figure skating icon Christy Yamaguchi will accept the Stan Musial Lifetime Achievement Award for sportsmanship. She'll be honored for her excellence, class, and philanthropic impact in nationally televised Musial Awards program. That'll be November 22nd at Stiefel Theater in St. Louis. And they continue to put on a marvelous show and honor what most of us would say are the right and good things about sports.
How about that?
Christy Yamaguchi. That'll be on November 22nd.
All right. Well, somebody who's still writing for a living and still hanging on, doing this journalism thing, Ryan Kroll with St. Louis Magazine. He's going to join us next.
I got to tell you, there is just something that comes over me as soon as I step in the RV. And it's not just me. Georgie, our dog, gets more excited, I think, than both of us. We start to put the luggage out, and all of a sudden she is sitting right there, and she's the first one in the door. Byerly RV offers you kind of that feeling of being home with being away from home. They have so many great options. More than 30 brands of new RVs in stock, travel trailers, fifth wheels, camper vans, both gas and diesel motorhomes, and you'll find those in all sorts of sizes. You'll be blown away when you step inside any of these because we're talking about pendant lights and residential refrigerators, even dishwashers and washer and dryers. You name it, you can take it on the road with you. And then wherever you pull in, that's your home away from home. Byerly RV has been doing this for a long time. They know what they're doing from the point of sale to service and then even a place to store your prized possessions. So check out ByerlyRV.com or swing by the dealership there in Eureka at 109 and 44.
My friends at Neighbors Credit Union are rolling out a new account. The new Debit All Day account is designed for the way you pay today. Debit All Day is a checkless checking account featuring a Neighbors Visa debit card, the convenience of online and mobile banking, and access to your direct deposits up to 2 days early. If you're looking for a no-fuss account to make managing your money simple, safe from overdrafts, and free of fees, Debit All Day is for you. Open your Neighbors Credit Union Debit All Day account online today at neighborscu.org.
Truck drivers, don't miss out on the unmatched consistency of a Schneider driving job. At Schneider, you can find a driving position that fits your lifestyle and goals, all while getting the pay you deserve. Plus, Schneider drivers operate state-of-the-art, well-maintained equipment and have access to award-winning benefits and a 24/7 support team. Explore Schneider's huge selection of driving jobs today and find your perfect fit at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
Tired of ads interrupting your favorite news podcast? Good news. Ad-free listening on Amazon Music is included with your Prime membership. Yeah, stay up to date on everything newsworthy with podcasts like The Daily, Up First, and 5 Things, uninterrupted at Amazon.com/ad-free. Just head to Amazon.com/ad-free to catch up on the latest episodes without the ads.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation, 314-569-1050. And have a Banner day.
Your dentures no longer fit? Maybe you're missing a tooth or several teeth. Visit Dr. Bowen for Simply Secure Dentures and Dental Implants, the cutting-edge, high-quality dental implants that replace all the teeth in your mouth, and it starts as low as $7,000, not the $35,000 that others charge. If you're only missing a few teeth, Dr. Bowen can permanently replace those with something you don't have to take in and out of your mouth. Learn more at SimplySecureDentures.com and get the care you need and the teeth you want at Bowen Dental Care or SimplySecureDentures.com.
Most people think if I name my husband as beneficiary, everything's going to be okay, and that's not necessarily true.
I'm Scott Garcia with Premier Estate and Income Planning.
What am I doing taking care of people after somebody has passed and all the mess that comes with that?
And I'm Jennifer Cermak, Chief Counsel and Estate Planning Attorney of Premier Estate and Income Planning.
No longer is the attorney the gatekeeper to your lives.
Let us show you how to protect your assets, avoid probate, and retire with confidence.
Having an estate plan could be the most important document you could ever have.
The Premier Income and Estate Planning Show. This Saturday at 4 and this Sunday morning at 7 on the Big 550 KTRS.
It's Monday, and that means news, politics, lighthearted topics, and everything St. Louis and beyond. It's Ryan Kroll from St. Louis Magazine on the Big 550 KTRS, the talk of St. Louis.
All right, Ryan's joining us as he does every Monday. And Ryan, we were just talking about the Post-Dispatch Axe and the Monday print edition and talking about how hard it is in print journalism these days. You do such a good job over there at St. Louis Magazine. I mean, if we could buy you lunch sometime,
No.
you know.
I'm not buying lunch.
You're not buying Ryan lunch? Okay.
Well, either way, yeah, I'm happy to, pay my fair share for a meal. But, yeah, no, it is such a bummer of a thing, the Post losing that Monday print edition. I think it really I know there's a lot of people out there who value the print product, but, I mean, those subscription rates are public to some extent. So you can kind of just see that the folks who do enjoy that paper product are getting fewer and fewer every year. So, us media companies, we really need to think about how to kind of pivot to kind of serve the next generation of news consumers. But yeah, no, it is. It's one thing to lose the print product, but it's just the thing that really gets me is that it leads to a loss of jobs, right? There's some layoffs over there. So that's really what you hate to see more than anything.
Well, that, and not to get into your business, personal business, but at your job, we love what you do. You know that. You were on with us in person last week, and terrific journalist. But content is one thing, but the company has to make money. That's the other thing, and trying to find that balance is tough sometimes.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I guess if I can just tout, St. Louis Magazine very, very briefly, I would say the one thing that we're really focused on is kind of having a relationship with St. Louisans, through email that doesn't rely on like Twitter and Facebook, but also through like events. We had a big A-list event a few weeks ago and another sort of smaller one and centered around food, people really into kind of the food scene. So that's a great way to kind of share this kind of common space with folks and build community in a slightly different way. So we're really thinking about, how are we going to serve people 3 years, 5 years down the line? And I know the Post is as well. It's just something that's on just about everyone in the media business's mind.
Yeah, and thank you for hanging in there and fighting the good fight. And without journalism and without people like you guys uncovering these stories, who knows what would happen?
Oh my God, people are getting away with a lot these days. But yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
So tell us some of these stories. I want to jump in on this the gambling machine lawsuit, which I was telling Bob. If this thing keeps going forward, they might force the legislature's hand at actually deciding whether or not these things are legal. So what's the lawsuit about?
Sure. So this has really struck me because I'm sure you guys and a lot of other people have noticed that the gas stations have just turned into casinos all of a sudden. You walk into buy a pack of gum or whatever, and everyone's playing a slot machine.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, what this boils down to is a lot of those slot machine-like devices are made by a company called Torch Electronics based in Wildwood. And they are being sued by another company called TNT Amusements. And TNT Amusements makes similar games, but they're not gambling in nature. They're kind of touchscreen games, billiards, that 10-ball, that kind of thing. And what TNT is saying is that this Torch company has, for lack of a better term, pretended that their products aren't gambling devices and has defrauded people in that regard. And that has kind of allowed them to kind of occupy this legally gray area where you can have machines that basically, for all intents and purposes, allow something that's a lot like gambling outside of casinos. And TNT, the company that makes non-gambling machines, they're sort of non-gambling games. They're sort of saying, look, well, hey, this isn't fair. We're sort of playing by the rules. They aren't, which gives them an unfair edge in the market. So that's what the lawsuit is all about specifically. But it could also lead to the type of games that are a lot like slot machines that are in gas stations being declared illegal. So we could potentially see fewer of them in gas stations going forward.
So I thought that it was a consumer, a person that maybe lost money on one of these things and was decided to sue the company. But you're saying this is some other company that's saying, hey, look, we're trying to do things legally. These people aren't. Let's just level the playing field.
Exactly. Yeah, you said it better than I could. Exactly. They said that these guys kind of skirting the spirit of the law, if not the letter of the law, has basically, given them an unfair advantage over us. And I don't know. This was talked about ad nauseum at the trial in great technical detail, but there's an aspect to these games that sort of, at least the company says, makes them not like slot machines. But that also means that they don't sort of adhere to the rules that govern slot machines in the state of Missouri. So I'm pretty sure if you go into like River City or something like that, I might have the exact number wrong, but I believe that those things have to pay out about 90%. So, if you spend $1, you're probably going to get 90 cents back on average. But with these games that are in gas stations, they don't have to adhere to the same regulations. So if I remember correctly from the testimony, sometimes the payout rate could be as low as like 60%. So you have these guys going into these gas stations thinking that they have somewhat of a fair shot, but it's actually way worse than just going to the casino or something like that. It's really it's really problematic for a lot of reasons.
Let's move on to the next one. And this story seems kind of weird and freaky, so I'm really into it. And that is call center cult. What are we talking about here?
Yeah, so this was an alleged cult that they kind of had presence all in 3 different states, in Michigan, Missouri, and Florida. But here in the St. Louis area, they owned 5 different really high-end properties in places like Wildwood and Chesterfield. And what their sort of MO was that they would have, in some cases, dozens and dozens of people living full-time at these houses. Allegedly, this is what the federal government says. And these people would be basically forced to constantly cold call people, to send them unsolicited DMs on Facebook, trying to raise money under the auspices that they are raising money for a religious organization, for a church, to do missionary work and that sort of thing. But the feds are alleging it was actually a forced labor scheme where these people basically, they were kind of in the thrall of this charismatic leader named David E. Taylor. They were abused. They were food was withheld, water was withheld if they didn't meet certain quotas. And then the hammer just came down, I guess, about 6 weeks ago in federal court, where this guy David E. Taylor and his sort of top lieutenant Michelle Brannon were indicted for running a forced labor scheme. And then just recently, they're both represented by St. Louis area attorneys, although the court case is playing out in Michigan. But just recently, Brandon was allowed to let her case work its way through the court while she's out on bond. And then the other guy, the kind of top dog in the alleged scheme, David Taylor, he's going to have a bond hearing in about a week, and we'll find out if he's going to have to remain behind bars while the case works its way through court.
And this is such a weird one, Bob. And there's pictures. They get all dressed up when they're doing their thing there, leading the congregation. But boy, Ryan, when they get arrested, they do not look the same as they do.
They're not in their Sunday best.
That's right. It's kind of funny when you see these mugshots. But what a weird story, forcing people to make cold calls, to raise cash. I think it's despicable, but hopefully it looks like they're going to get the book thrown at them. And then just really quickly, Bitcoin bought a house in St. Louis.
Yeah, so this is a wild one. I hope folks will go read this. It is a little bit complicated, but I feel confident it's worth a read. Basically, there's a startup company in California that lets you buy fractions of a house. You can buy as little as $50 of a house, and then someone else is living in it, and you get just a slight portion of the rent comes your way. But the problem is that thousands of people own this one house, and they all have to kind of have some kind of consensus on what to do with it. Therefore, nothing is really getting done. So there's a handful of houses like that in the city that are owned by this one company that offers this service. I kind of did a deep dive into one of them, and it was just sitting vacant. Squatters were in it. It had, its grass was up to your waist, that kind of thing. So there was one alderwoman who was really dedicated to kind of getting this house into better hands. But she said that, she didn't even know to begin. Normally in that kind of case, you would contact the owner. She said, Lord, the owner is this Bitcoin type entity. I don't even know where to begin. So it's a kind of a scary thing in terms of if this ownership model becomes more popular. They really got some kinks they need to work out.
And you really want your neighbors to you don't even have to own the house. You could rent the house, but take care of the lawn and have some sort of pride in the house. And when you got squatters living next door, that makes for a bad news. And who do you even call? Just like you said. So
yeah, this could be something where I paid $50 and then forgot about it. Exactly.
There's 1,000 landlords for this one house. All right, Ryan Kroll, St. Louis Magazine. Like I said earlier, keep fighting the good fight and print journalism there. So again, I'm going to buy you lunch one of these days. Just out of,
And I'll just come along.
All right. I look forward to it. And you guys, likewise, you guys keep fighting the good fight on the airwaves.
Yeah, we'll go to Joya's and get some hot salami.
I love it.
All right, thanks, Ryan.
All right, talk to you soon.
Meep, meep.
We should buy Captain Paul lunch too.
It was good.
Yeah, he gives out his traffic for free,
How
right?
about a steak?
Oh, well.
Wait a minute.
Oh, boy. Here come the add-ons.
Way to go.
You opened a can of worms.
Yeah. How are the roads looking, Cap?
Well, northbound 170 is still closed between I-70 and the Scudder-Hanley exit due to an accident that happened about 1 o'clock. The ramp to westbound 70 is closed and the ramp to eastbound 70 is open, and it looks like traffic is being diverted. The jam extends back past St. Charles Rock Road. An accident on southbound 270 at McDonald is blocking the 2 left lanes with traffic jammed back to Lindbergh. There's road work on westbound 5570 between Fairmount and Illinois 111 with the 2 right lanes closed, and southbound 55 is heavy from Gasconade to 4500 South Broadway. From the KTRS Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
Julie Buck here for The Only Facial. If you want great skin, and I mean, who doesn't, then pop into The Only Facial and get a facial. They've got so many steps to this process, and it's one price, $125. No tipping, no upsells, no product sales, just a fabulous facial, including microderm abrasion and dermaplaning, and of course, therapeutic massage, just to name a few of the things that will happen during your facial at The Only Facial, with locations all over St. Louis. Also in Overland Park, Kansas, too. So if you're in the KC area, you'll know that you can just go to The Only Facial and get that same facial that you know and love, that you get in Frontenac, that you get in Clayton, that you get in Columbia, Missouri, Sunset Hills, all over town. Look for it. They're pink. You can't miss them, and it's fabulous. It's called The Only Facial, and you can find out more online and book now, too, at theonlyfacial.com.
Want to get away in your own hometown? How about Innsbruck? Just 45 minutes from St. Louis, 7,500 acres, 100-plus lakes, 18-hole championship golf course, nature trails, event spaces, and so much more. Wedding venues, wedding weekends, corporate retreats. They've got A-frames and tree houses and custom homes. In fact, they have a fall home tour going on Saturday, October 18th from noon to 4. We'll see you there. To find out more, Innsbruck-resort.com.
Truck drivers, the holiday rush is here. Take advantage by becoming a Schneider driver. By driving for one of America's busiest carriers, you'll stay busy during the holiday season and throughout the new year. Plus, as a Schneider driver, you'll have access to top-quality driver support and newer equipment spec'd with the latest safety and comfort features that drivers want. Don't wait. Get a jump on 2026 by exploring jobs in your area today at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
Your dentures no longer fit? Maybe you're missing a tooth or several teeth. Visit Dr. Bowen for Simply Secure Dentures and Dental Implants. The cutting-edge, high-quality dental implants that replace all the teeth in your mouth, and it starts as low as $7,000, not the $35,000 that others charge. If you're only missing a few teeth, Dr. Bowen can permanently replace those with something you don't have to take in and out of your mouth. Learn more at SimplySecureDentures.com and get the care you need and the teeth you want at Bowen Dental Care or SimplySecureDentures.com.
If you're looking for your next home, think of First Community. Our Smart Choice Home Loan offers a 30-year fixed rate of just 6.531% APR to qualified borrowers, and you only need a down payment of 10%. Whether it's your first home, your forever home, or even a vacation home, be smart with a Smart Choice loan from First Community for all your savings and all your loans. Must qualify for membership. For terms and conditions, call toll-free 1-888-642-7969. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing lender.
Royal Banks of Missouri and Cantor Injury Law are proud to sponsor this Saturday's big game. Your undefeated Mizzou Tigers welcomes the Alabama Crimson Tide to Pearl Field in Columbia. Kickoff at 11, pregame at 9.
Yeah! 2 tacklers to the house in Missouri.
Don't miss all the action live here on the Big 550. KTRS has full coverage all week on the Big Sports Show with KTRS Sports Director Brendan Lisi and the Press Box with Frank Cusimano.
Missouri delivers a counter punch on the fake punt.
This is why the Big 550 is live, local, and the home for everything Mizzou. Proudly powered by Royal Banks of Missouri and Cantor Injury Law.
Let's go Mizzou.
A big KTRS shout out to Lacey Lumber, Family owned and family operated since 1872. Lisi Lumber has built the St. Louis metropolitan area. They've worked with builders and contractors and homeowners. They provide building materials from soup to nuts. 2 hardware stores in Belleville ready to serve you. Millwork, insulating material, wallboard, roofing materials, you name it, Lisi Lumber can help because Lisi Lumber is just that much better. LisiLumber.com.
Hi, it's Jill Farmer. This note came in on our text line recently on the Frank and Jill show. You need to know that Ryan Raphael helped me with my senior insurance plan. He was such a gentleman, so helpful, knowledgeable, and kind. I can't thank him enough, and I heard about him on KTRS. I love that text because Ryan Raphael is the Medicare man. He's absolutely the best person to call to help you through the often confusing process of finding the right Medicare plan for you. He loves helping people, walking them through the overwhelm of, I don't know how to choose the best plan for me, or I did choose a plan based on the recommendation of a well-meaning friend or family member, and now I don't think it's actually the right one for me. Ryan Raphael is the best at matching you with a plan that lets you keep your own physicians and keep your prescriptions. It's like having the highest quality consultant on your team. The best news, it's free to you. Under the law, his fees are paid by the insurance companies. Go to MedicareManSTL.com or call 314-368-6808. That's Ryan Raphael's cell phone number just for you.
You're listening to the Heidi Glaus Show with Josh Gilbert and Bob Ramsey on the Big 550 KTRS.
So I saw this headline, and I had to do a deeper dive. There's a TikTok star who he's French, Aurélien Fontenoy, and he got the world record time of bicycling up the stairs at the Eiffel Tower. He was able to make it up 686 steps in 12 minutes and 30 seconds. Here's why I did a deep dive. How do you ride a bike upstairs?
I've never tried. I wouldn't know.
Like maybe if you put like a flat ramp down, you could, but you can't.
Probably as you get your power on your back wheel, you got to probably bounce the front wheel up.
So I opened up
the
TikTok video to see how this guy does this. And he locks his brakes and he hops, bunny hops.
Oh.
Up.
Almost like he's pogo sticking up.
Exactly. And the rule is that he can't set his feet down because then he wouldn't be riding the bike. I wouldn't even call this riding the bike. This is pogoing up the stairs, which is probably why it took him 12 minutes and 30 seconds to get all the way up. So it is pretty difficult when you watch the video to see him doing this thing. But
can you imagine trying to ride up if there were ramps setting on top? I mean, that'd be almost impossible too. That'd be really hard.
It's pretty steep.
That's what I'm saying.
Stairs. It's pretty
That's what
steep.
I'm saying.
Yeah. I just, I'm not a professional cyclist. I have a bike. I've ridden it before, and going uphill is really tough. And then you watch these Tour de France people, and they're climbing mountains.
Got to know your gears, Josh. You got to know your gears.
Holy cow. So if you get a chance to check out this guy hopping his bike up the steps at the Eiffel Tower, that's how he does it.
You like to talk about mountains and waterfalls and that sort of thing. Did you see those people trying to go up Everest, got stranded? Did you see that?
Wasn't it? There's a blizzard.
200 climbers on one side of Everest. It's a blizzard. They're stranded. And it looks not like that powdery snow you think you'd see, that heavy, wet snow. On the other side of Everest, it's like a monsoon. Raining, and there's towns at the bottom are being flooded out. It's unbelievable. And people have been planning their whole lives, or certainly for years, to make the trip. And an unseasonable blizzard comes and literally washes the whole thing away.
Wow. How much do you think it costs to climb Everest? Is there a fee?
There are fees, and you got to pay the
Sherpas,
Nepalese government. I believe. Yeah, you got to have a Sherpa. Come on,
right? And they just run up these things and drag these rich Americans behind them or whoever.
Well, and then you got to sit up base camps along the way. Yeah, it's a very involved deal.
Connor, you work with Jill Farmer. Jill Farmer climbed Mount Kilimanjaro.
Correct.
What was that, last year? She left for 10 days or so. Is that climbing Everest is a climb. It is arduous. People die. Did she say that Kilimanjaro was more, it's
not the same.
Right.
It's
but
not the same.
It's strenuous. My friend and everybody.
It is strenuous.
Yeah, Dr. Rick Lehman. A lot of people turn back on Kilimanjaro.
Oh, really? Did Dr. Rick get all the way up?
Yeah.
But you're never getting out the
pitons,
the climbing gear and roping up and climbing.
I mean, I don't want to say it's a walk, but
there's large parts of it that
most
are
of
walk.
it is. Yeah.
Okay. Because I mean, it is something to go all the way over there, and probably not the easiest walk. It's not like walking out to get your mail.
As you get to the higher elevations, it's very difficult. I'm told.
But it's not like
pitons and
sheer
ropes
face
and
rock
you
climbing.
ever see they have the aluminum ladders across the crevasse?
Yes.
And they have to go across. I mean, it's not like that on Kilimanjaro. No.
Yeah.
I've got something here from the an expedition review website. They say you can expect to spend between $33,000 and $130,000, depending on many things, including the level of luxury you would want on your Everest climb.
My luxury Everest trip.
Well, what are you springing for
those big
the good Sherpa, or for?
I want one of those big tents like
big
the
tents.
sheiks have.
Yeah, the big tent.
The big
With
tent.
tents, you get the heat. But at least $33,000 is what it says.
My goodness! I mean, what did we say last week when we were talking about sheer face rock climbing? Some guy passed away last week when he fell off trying to do a free climb. Not interested.
No, and I'm not making light of his tragic death. A young man. He was in his early 20s. But it's like on Seinfeld when Tony, his accident was just like the Seinfeld. Didn't have the rope knotted, and he slipped off the end of the rope and fell.
My
It was just a mistake, and a very experienced climber. Really sad.
Somebody on the text line 84126, jump in and join the show and weigh in on the text line. Someone said that doesn't even sound remotely fun to do. I'm with you.
I agree.
Somebody else echoing Connor's price for these between $30,000 and $130,000. And another person weighing in, 84126, the record for climbing Mount Everest is 22 times by a Sherpa who was doing it twice a year, with these millionaires.
Amazing.
I guess you got to be a millionaire if you spend $130,000.
This is $15,000 for the climbing permit.
Just for the permit.
So that's just the permit part. So
I mean,
Nepal figured it out.
Yeah, I don't want to say they're squeezing these people, but if you can, you might as well.
Average cost $60,000. So that's what if you want to average it out.
Yeah.
Somebody said, "OMG, you guys, your own coworker Jill did it." I know.
Yeah. Kilimanjaro, not Everest.
Before we go to break, you got one more story over
Well,
there?
I just wanted to say, just kind of a callback. I did this story last week about the skydivers that their chute only partially opened, and they hit the ground at 45 miles an hour. Did you see over the weekend, 35-year-old Nashville skydiving instructor died, came loose from they're going in tandem. The instructor somehow came loose, so the person that was the learner or that was going along, they made it down, but the skydiver fell tragically to her death. So
my wife did that years ago, and over in Illinois, and she said that years later she saw a story in the newspaper that skydiving instructor died while giving a lesson or whatever, and it was her instructor.
Yeah, and on this deal, it was in Nashville. They're still trying to investigate. Were they improperly hooked together? Did something break? What exactly happened? But as they went out the door of the plane, the instructor came loose from the other person to whom the chute was attached.
Yeah.
Really tragic.
The extreme sports.
Yep.
I mean, my life's pretty boring, but It ain't that boring. I think I'll keep my feet on the ground. We'll go to traffic here after the break, and then Brendan Weiss is going to join us. KTRS Sports Director is going to join us and talk about the weekend that was. Programming alert next hour. We just booked this. Anna Spiegel from Axios DC is going to join us to tell us what the Capitol is like with the government shutdown. You know, a majority of the people that live and work in D.C. work for the government. So what happens when the government shuts down? Does the whole city shut down? We'll give you that update in the 5 o'clock hour. We'll be right back.
And now, KTRS weather.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. An isolated shower, thunder shower possible this evening and through the overnight. Few and far between, most stay dry, but have the umbrella handy just in case. We could use any rain we can get, although it won't be enough. And then overnight low of 65. Any spotty rain in the morning's gone in the afternoon. Breezy, mostly cloudy, and high of 74. Notably cooler Tuesday. And that's the case for Wednesday, but a lot more sunshine. Sunny and a high of 73 for Wednesday. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton for the Big 550 KTRS.
Storms are becoming more severe and more frequent, and through it all, your roof absorbs a lot of wear and tear, season after season, so it may be time to replace it. I'm Jill Farmer for TB Exteriors. TB Exteriors has been providing professional roofing, gutter, siding, decking, and window services to the St. Louis metro area for over 6 years. They can help with roofing insurance claims and provide you with a quality residential or commercial roofing solution. Call TB Exteriors at 636-362-9503 or visit tbexteriorsmo.com to schedule a free estimate.
Scott, can you believe it's already been more than a decade since the Queen of Carpet sold flooring to St. Louis area contractors?
I know, but I don't have to be a king to offer contractors today's lowest prices.
Yes, contractors owe it to their customers and themselves to shop at Best Buy Flooring for the largest in-stock selection of carpet, carpet tile, sheet vinyl, laminate, hardwood, luxury vinyl plank, and luxury vinyl tile.
Plus 3 convenient locations, North County, South County, and Metro East.
Open 7 days a week.
Best flooring, best selection, Best Buy. Best Buy Flooring.
Michael's Baths, a local family-owned business operated by Michael Gower and his daughter Melanie. If you want to give your bathroom an affordable facelift, you need to check out Michael's Baths. They'll give you a free quote to transform your bathroom, whether it's a walk-in shower, whether it's brand new shower walls, whether it's to look like natural stone, maybe even grab bars. It doesn't matter. They'll do it all with American-made products, so you're not at the mercy of any tariff increases. They'll use quality products like Central and Moen that are backed with a lifetime guarantee. 5-star reviews from Michael's Baths on Google and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Everyone, including the nanny, raves about Michael, their friendly office staff, and their experienced installation team. 30 years of experience. All they do is bathrooms. Yours is next. Right now, get a free shower door or $500 off a bathroom remodel. michaelsbaths.com, 636-775-0800 or michaelsbaths.com.
Whether you're on your way to see the Tigers or coming back home from the game, be sure to plan a side trip to Overstock Outlet, the best random store around where new inventory from the major big box stores arrives daily. You never know what great deals you'll find, and it's right on your way. 2 locations, in Lake St. Louis at Highway N and Lake St. Louis Boulevard, and in Warrenton at Highway 47 and Highway M. Open every day from 10 until 5. Find them on Facebook at Overstock Outlet Lake St. Louis, or check out their weekly online auctions at overstockoutletauctions.com. Let's go Tigers!
Royal Banks of Missouri and Cantor Injury Law are proud to sponsor this Saturday's big game. Your undefeated Mizzou Tigers welcomes the Alabama Crimson Tide to Burrow Field in Columbia. Kickoff at 11, pregame at 9.
Yeah! 2 tacklers to the house in Missouri.
Don't miss all the action live here on the Big 550. KTRS has full coverage all week on the Big Sports Show with KTRS Sports Director Brendan Lisi and the Press Box with Frank Cusimano.
Missouri delivers a counter punch on the fake punt.
This is why the Big 550 is live, local, and the home for everything Mizzou. Proudly powered by Royal Banks of Missouri and Cantor Injury Law. Let's go Mizzou.
When you want to send flowers to a loved one for a birthday, anniversary, or that special occasion, call your friends at Walter Knoll Florist. Walter Knoll is family-owned and operated and offers custom designs by expert designers. A huge inventory and selection that only the largest florist can offer, with quality and care that no grocery store florist can meet. They have several locations in the St. Louis metro area to serve you. Order online today at WKF.com. That's WKF.com. Walter Knoll Florist, your personal florist since 1883.
You're listening to the Heidi Glaus Show with Josh Gilbert and Bob Ramsey on the Big 550 KTRS.
All right, that's the Brendan Weesey sounder. He's in studio. We're going to chat about the college football landscape. Mizzou moved up a bunch of spots because a bunch of people lost. But first, we got to hit traffic real quick. Captain Paul Kopsky, how are the roads looking?
Well, Josh, northbound 170 is still closed between I-70 and the Scudder-Hanley exit to an accident that happened 3.5 hours ago. The ramp to westbound 70 is closed and the ramp to eastbound 70 is open, and it looks like traffic is being diverted. The jam extends all the way back to Olive. There's road work on westbound 5570 between Fairmount and Illinois 111 with the two right lanes closed, and southbound 55 is heavy around 4500 South Broadway. From the KTRS Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
Well, the rankings got all jumbled up because Florida beat Texas, UCLA inexplicably beat number 7 Penn State, and even Cincinnati beat 14 Iowa State. So where's Mizzou stand now after all that madness?
Move up 5 spots. They're number 14 in the country now as they prepare to take on number 8 Alabama on Saturday in Columbia. Not to be outdone, Illinois moved up 5 spots as well. So they're in the top 20 as they get ready to play top-ranked Ohio State. 2 big home games.
We both have the Giants.
It feels like potential transformative games for 2 big programs here.
Josh, as Brendan's the professional and you're the fan,
yes,
but you're coming off kind of as the whiny fan. They play UMass and you give it the stink eye, and then Alabama comes in and we got to play Alabama. What do you want?
I don't want to play them either.
What do you want? Who do you want to play?
I want to play South Carolina every game from here on out. Do we have a chance?
Yes,
of course.
The line has come down now. I mean, you should know this by now, right? The line opened up like maybe 6.5.
Something like that, yeah.
Some books. I just saw it down all the way to 2.5. So
means it's basically a
stop
pick 'em.
A ton of money is coming on Mizzou apparently.
Yeah, they're going to win.
They're going to be the. No, it's not always a good thing to see the public so unanimously on the side of one team, which it looks like they're going to, at least for now. Now, as the number gets smaller,
it could bounce back the other way.
You'll see. So does it close out Alabama -3? That'd be perfect. That's about what I saw it as we kind of projected what this line might be over the last few weeks. Alabama looked good, not great, against Vanderbilt on Saturday. I think we're in store for a great game.
I think it'll be a great game. Mizzou's going to win, Josh. Come on, man.
Boy, I mean, the Sharps are actually giving me some hope that we could.
But not me.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Well,
but that's reasonable.
Just to be specific, the public is not the Sharps. The public is the one putting all the money in on Mizzou right now.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know what the Sharps have on it.
Well,
betting vernacular here, Mr.
Right.
Well, here's one of the reasons why I think, because they can count on their running game. And when you count on your running game, it gives you many opportunities for other parts of your game to not be so great. You have the opportunity to control things.
Play action, RPO.
Well, and the clock. And all of those things.
It's such a good point, Rammer, and I feel like that's – look at their 2 wins against Kansas and South Carolina. It just felt like they took chances away from those 2 teams because both those games were close in the fourth. Kansas led in the fourth quarter. I'm trying to remember if South Carolina did in the fourth quarter or not. But both of those games, it just felt like if South Carolina or Kansas had at least one more chance with the football, it could have been different. But they didn't because Mizzou dominates the ball. They dominate time of possession. and they have explosive plays. It's a great combination.
And this weekend starts the buzzsaw. Alabama, Vanderbilt, who are no slouch, Oklahoma, Texas A&M. All of these teams are ranked in the top 15.
They're saying the same thing in their cities.
Well, I hope
so.
so.
Then you got Mizzou. They're ranked in the top 15.
I hope so.
You've got to quit being that guy.
Bob,
they've earned their
years
spot.
old.
They've earned their spot.
This tiger doesn't change his stripes.
I won't go as far as to say that Mizzou's going to win this game, but I feel like they've got a really good chance at doing it. It is, I think, two teams that are matched up pretty evenly, and the hype train has begun.
All right, well, we're running out of time. We're a little behind, so quickly, what do we got tonight on the sports show?
We've got our Mizzou Mondays with a ton of conversation. Eli Hoff with me. We'll talk. We'll talk Mizzou cross country. They're off to a very good start on our Mizzou Monday show. We'll see everybody tonight starting at 6 with Frank on the press box.
Thanks, Brennan. We'll see you tonight.
Well, you guys know me. I love to travel, and nobody does that better than Altair Travel and Cruises. And when I'm talking about does that better, I mean, they make everything so much easier. You don't have to do anything except sit down with them and tell them about your hopes and dreams and your bucket list vacations. And then the talented team over at Altair Travel and Cruises will put it all together for you, from airfare to the hotel stays to everything in between. They'll even give you some ideas on what to pack and where to eat. So before you plan your next trip, call Altair Travel and Cruises, 314-968-9600. You can also go online to altairtravel.com. And did I mention they can also save you a little money because they've been working with these vendors for more than 40 years. So check out altairtravel.com.
October is officially Financial Planning Month. The One Beautiful Bill Act locked in many of the tax laws set to revert back to the 2017 rules. But there were also changes to the tax code in this law, and we can help. If you're not taking full advantage of the tax law and you feel like you're paying more than your fair share, then let us help you plan for 2026 and take advantage of the new tax rules.
Give Capital Advisory Group a call at 636-394-5524. Online at capitaladvisorygrp.com.
Whoa, boss, how did that happen?
Mind your business.
I mean, how did a forklift make a shish kebab out of our company truck?
I said mind your business, Billy. It's why we have auto owners. We worked with an independent agent to customize our policies. So when the unexpected happens, we know we're covered because unlike you, minding our business is their business.
Oh, that's simple human sense.
Ask First Mid Insurance in St. Peters if auto owners make sense for you.
I'm Farmer Dave, and here's my good friend and owner of MasterCars Inc., Alex Rosenberger, with today's hot MasterCars Inc. deals.
Hey, thanks, Farmer Dave. This is our favorite motoring season. Great top-down weather or getting the bike out. The temps are perfect. Of course, we can fix you up with one if you're in need. Attractive financing options available with no payments until 2026. Keep that in mind. Now, if you have one and don't need it, we can help there too. We're always looking for super clean, low-mile, pristine Corvettes, muscle cars, classic cars, luxury cars, you name it. Motorcycles, too, especially Ducatis and Harleys. We'll even buy entire collections. Hop on our site, submit what you've got, and we'll get you an offer. Easy as that.
So rev that motor and point your car in the direction of MasterCars Inc. and buy or sell today. 4100 Namioki Road in Granite City, or visit MasterCarsInc.com to get more details. That's MasterCarsInc.com.
The Big 550.
KTRS St. Louis.
From ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. The Senate's scheduled to vote this evening on a government funding bill that could end the 6-day shutdown. But so far, Democrats have refused to support the measure because it does not restore Medicaid cuts or extend health insurance subsidies. But President Trump said,
"We are speaking with the Democrats, and some very good things could happen with respect to health care."
Democrats have not indicated they're talking to the White House. The government shutdown is having an effect on air travel as more air traffic controllers call out sick. FAA documents show that Burbank in Southern California is going to suspend normal flight operations for 6 hours tonight because it won't have any controllers. Earlier in the day, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said,
"In a job that's already stressful, this shutdown has put way more stress on our controllers."
They are having to work without pay. He said the skies are safe. President Trump says major U.S. cities are not safe, and that's why federal troops are needed.
I think that's all insurrection. I really think that's really criminal insurrection.
He said he'd enact the Insurrection Act if courts were, quote, holding us up, as a federal judge in Oregon blocked the administration from sending National Guard troops to Portland. The city's police chief told ABC that protests outside of an ICE facility there took up just one block and usually involved 20 to 25 people. A separate federal judge declined to immediately block deployment of troops to Chicago. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker said
Donald Trump is using our service members as political props and as pawns in his illegal effort to militarize our nation's cities.
Indirect talks between Israel and Hamas have begun in Egypt, centered on the first phase of the U.S. deal to release hostages and end fighting. And federal prosecutors say a man had 200 explosive devices in a tent outside of a church where the Supreme Court justices were holding the annual Red Mass Sunday. You're listening to a
5,000.
Hey, Ed Brock, everybody. If you love Halloween like I do yourself a favor and visit Johnny Brock's Dungeon. Why shop those tiny pop-up shops when you can shop 30,000 square feet of locally owned Halloween fun? We're open all year at I-44 in Jefferson on the edge of Soulard. Johnny Brock's Dungeon, a St. Louis must-see.
The Hill in St. Louis is known for many things. The close-knit neighborhood, the shotgun-style homes, the mom-and-pop shops. But perhaps the most striking feature of the community is the pride of their Italian heritage. From the fire hydrants painted red, white, and green, to the many great Italian restaurants, the influence of America's other little Italy is clear to see. One of the staples of the Hill is Mama's on the Hill, perhaps one of the most famous and historic restaurants in St. Louis, and the home of the toasted ravioli. You see, in the early 40s, Chef Fritz accidentally dropped an order of ravioli in hot oil instead of hot water. That accident exploded in popularity and was soon served nationwide. Experience their toasted ravs and the rest of their delicious authentic Italian food at Mama's on the Hill today. You'll taste why Mama's on the Hill is the premier family restaurant on the Hill. Celebrate Italian Heritage Day on Sunday, October 12th on the Hill with the annual Italian Heritage Day Parade at 12:30, followed by the Italian Festa at Barra Park.
"86 degrees at 5:03 with KTRS News. I'm Steve Potter. The Supreme Court has refused to revive a controversial Missouri gun law that bans police from enforcing some federal firearm laws. The High Court today rejected a push to hear arguments over whether the state can block police from enforcing federal gun laws that don't have an equivalent state law. The measure imposes $50,000 fines on officers who knowingly enforce those federal laws, which include possession of firearms by some domestic violence offenders and weapons registration and tracking. Refusing a breathalyzer is no longer an option in St. Louis County.
St. Louis County is making changes to its policy on drunk and impaired driving. St. Louis County Prosecuting Attorney Melissa Price Smith announced the county will now be a no-refusal county, this in an effort to increase public safety. That means prosecutors will seek a warrant for anyone suspected of driving under the influence who refuses a breath or a blood test. Jill Enders, KTRS News.
The Office of the Illinois State Fire Marshal, local fire departments, and other organizations across the state are teaming up with the National Fire Protection Association to promote Fire Prevention Week. This year's theme, Charge into Fire Safety, highlights how important it is to charge and recycle batteries in a safe way. Meanwhile, the city of St. Louis is offering some fall home safety tips. They say now is the time to check smoke detectors, fire extinguishers, and first aid kits. Inspections should also be done on your home heating system. They also are recommending that this time of year you should clean chimneys and fireplaces and have an annual roof inspection. U.S. Congressman Wesley Bell is proposing a stamp to honor William Lacey Clay Sr.
U.S. Representative Wesley Bell is proposing a U.S. postage stamp to honor the late former U.S. Representative William Lacey Clay Sr. Bell formally proposed a stamp in a House bill introduced this week. Clay served in Congress for 3 decades, representing Missouri's 1st congressional district, the St. Louis area district Bell now serves. Clay became the first African American to be elected to Congress from Missouri in November of 1968 and was a founding member of the Congressional Black Caucus. Clay, who died on July 16, 2025, retired in 2001. He was succeeded by his son, former U.S. Representative William Lacey Clay Jr., who served for 2 decades. Sobe Bay, KTRS News.
This KTRS Business Minute brought to you by Walter Knoll Florist, the place for all your floral needs. Place your order anytime at WKF.com. KFC is bringing back its popular sauce from the 1990s. Today, KFC's original honey barbecue sauce officially returned to stores. They say the return was highly requested by fans on social media. Now look at the markets. Brought to you by JBL Financial. Tune into Straight Talk on Retirement Saturday mornings, which will air 2 hours earlier this Saturday from 7 until 9 a.m. At close, the Dow down 63 points at 46,695, NASDAQ up 163 at 22,944, and the S&P 500 up 24 at 6,740. Now let's go to Paul for KTRS Sports and Traffic.
Steve, Mizzou football was idle this weekend, but still managed to move up 5 spots to number 14 in the latest Associated Press poll. The Tigers take on number 8 Alabama Saturday starting at 9 a.m. here on the Big 550. And Illinois football moved up 5 spots to number 17 in the latest Associated Press poll after winning 42-27 at Purdue. Next up for the Illini, they host number 1 Ohio State on Saturday. I'm Paul Kopsky from the Royal Banks of Missouri Sports Desk, and now on to traffic. Northbound 170 is still closed between I-70 and the Scudder-Hanley exit due to an accident that happened 4 hours ago. The ramp to westbound 70 is closed, and the ramp to eastbound 70 is open, and it looks like traffic is being diverted. The jam extends all the way back to Olive. There's an accident on St. Charles Rock Road at 170. Road work on westbound 5570 between Fairmount and Illinois 111 has the 2 right lanes closed, and southbound 55 is stop and go at times at 4500 South Broadway. From the KTRS Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
We have a 30% chance for rain this evening, an overnight low in the mid-60s. Cooler tomorrow, a slight chance of rain with an afternoon high tomorrow around 73. At 8 minutes past 5 o'clock, mostly sunny, 86 degrees at the Gold Tower at Westport. Steve Potter, KTRS News, the talk of St. Louis.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com and get ready for the workday.
Hey, Doc, nice office. Quick question. If you had to choose, would you give yourself a root canal or run payroll?
Run payroll, no question.
Seriously? Have you run payroll before?
Paying my team with Gusto couldn't be easier. Gusto gives me unlimited payroll runs, next-day direct deposits, and automatically files my taxes. Saves me time.
Wow, that's nice.
Over here, Doc. Can I run payroll too?
Choose payroll without the pain. Visit gusto.com/radio to sign up for free.
Anna Spiegel from Axios DC is joining us, but I'm so distracted because last night I was just listening to this song. And Connor plays whatever he wants over there. Who is that? Badfinger?
It is.
Yeah. Holy cow.
First group signed by Apple.
Yeah. They were Beatle proteges.
Now, what does that have to do with Washington, D.C.? Well,
Absolutely
nothing. Okay.
Absolutely nothing, but I got distracted. Anna Spiegel is here, though. She is a reporter for Axios DC, and she covers, you cover the food beat, you cover the nightlife, you cover the social scene, right? What is your beat with Axios?
Yeah, I do a little bit of everything. Food by trade. I used to work in restaurants, but I'm part of the culture, politics, and in DC it all kind of mingles together, so it works.
And the question for us, I've been to D.C., I've been to the mall, I was there for a week, and it was great. But when the government shuts down, the question is, well, does everybody that live in D.C., do they work for the government or with the government in some capacity? If the government shuts down, does the whole town shut down?
No, the whole town definitely doesn't shut down, but there is a lot of it's kind of like a split screen reality for a lot of folks. Even if, obviously you have furloughed employees, you also have government employees who are essential and still working. Then you have the government adjacent jobs, like, lots of lawyers, contractors, people that work with the government whose work might be halted. You have folks like us, like journalists, who are working overtime. And then, you have the restaurant industry, local businesses, and they are, a lot of people say they're struggling right now. They're offering these shutdown specials to try to get people in the door. It kind of has snow day vibes the first couple of days where people are going out to happy hours and, going to the bar at 11 a.m. in the morning. But that changes the longer the shutdown lasts.
And are people worried, how long this thing goes on? Are they already in money-saving mode?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Washington, a lot of we've written about this, and I think this shutdown comes at a really tough time for the city. Or so far in this administration, that we've had the DOGE cuts with hundreds of thousands of federal workers being fired. Some of them have been rehired and fired again. People are worried about losing their jobs under the shutdown. I think about it. We just had the emergency order with, the federal takeover, increased federal presence in the city. That was, stressful for a lot of folks and caused some tourism downturns and other things. So I think about this as, it's the difference of getting the flu when you've been healthy versus catching the flu when you've been overworked, tired, maybe you've been home with a sick kid and you're just kind of on your last straw. And I think that's where a lot of people are.
One more thing, lifestyle-wise, and it started to hit me that over these last few months, less and less people, I don't know what the percentage is, but has anybody seen anything like, hey, nobody's on the train today, or, it's easier to get a cab, or those kinds of things?
Yes, absolutely. We were actually just hearing from one of my my colleague's husband that he flew into town today for work, whereas he usually is coming from the suburbs and it takes a long time on a Monday. And I think, we're getting numbers from our Metro Rail system this week. It'll probably likely be down with people not going into work as much. And again, hearing from businesses like on Capitol Hill, for example, I talked to a restaurateur who said business is 50% down. Already from being down, which is, really hard to operate in those conditions. Like people aren't planning work lunches. The Capitol Hill drives a lot of events, fundraisers, private dining, all those things, which isn't happening right now. So that can be tough for a lot of people.
So tell me, I'm sure it's a mix, but are people still working and not getting paid, or are they furloughed? You said it's snow day vibes, people at the bar at 11 a.m. just, because it's kind of fun the first couple of days. But are people working without pay, or are they just off?
Yes. Yeah, there are people, especially people working without pay, that they are, the government in the past has stated goes on the promise to, how they get back pay, basically. So they get paid once the government resumes. But once those, as long as these things go on, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, and your rent's due and other things like that, even that back pay can be really stressful.
It's interesting, and this gets more into opinion than being a reporter, but you think about, there are many who think, oh yeah, smaller government. That's what we need, smaller government. But the unintended consequences in places like D.C., how are the restaurants going to stay afloat and all those kinds of things? So maybe you get there eventually, but to try and do everything in a snap, that is, I'm starting to realize how drastic that is.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, and I think it's been a not so slow build in terms of the impact on the local economy. I think, we were reporting when the increased military and federal presence over the past, starting in August and September, kept a lot of tourists away, kept a lot of workers away who were feared of ICE crackdowns, things of that sort. And then this has been kind of another, different kind of blow. We also have a big part of tourism. I mean, the Smithsonian museums.
They're closed.
They're closed.
Oh.
National parks. National parks, a lot of them are open, but they don't have. Think about the National Mall, for example. You can go walk on the National Mall, but you can't get a ranger guide. You can't get a tour, things of that sort.
The Air and Space Museum, closed.
Yes, I believe so. I know that some of the Smithsonian museums are going to be keeping open as long as they could, based on depending on what their funding was for the year. But they were all saying that after a certain point, I know the National Gallery, Portrait Gallery is closed as of today. A lot of them closed as of today. Canceled their fall programming as of now because they don't know if they'll have enough money to put on these big events. And fall is a big time in D.C. There's lots of festivals going on, and Oktoberfest and other things that not necessarily related to the Smithsonian, but there's just a lot happening that might be on the delayed.
We've got the local news here in St. Louis on one of the monitors in here, and they just flashed up National Gallery of Art closed due to government shutdown. They got big signs out front. So that's really interesting. The restaurants make sense. Tourism and hotels, the metro, the trains, this makes sense. Is there an industry that kind of suffers when the government shut down that we wouldn't have thought of?
I think maybe the adjacent, like a lot of the contractors that you think about, law offices.
Yeah, the lawyers,
Yeah, lawyers, places like that. I think it depends how long this goes on, but you also think about people, what they're going to be not spending money on. I think it's really tough right now. Obviously small businesses, but you have a lot of people worried about paying for childcare or nanny services or babysitters, things of that sort. I think that's just the kind of like people drawing in and kind of closing their purses and saying, okay, I'm not going to go out to dinner. I'm not going to pay for a babysitter. I'm just going to kind of sit tight for right now.
Very interesting. Anna Spiegel has become a friend of the show here. She works for Axios in D.C., covering many of the beats. I want to ask you at some point, we had tried to do this in the past, what you know about this new ballroom that they're building.
Yes. The new ballroom is a very hot topic.
Yeah.
Especially with my colleague, Mimi Montgomery, has a great story coming out in the Axios DC newsletter tomorrow just about how construction is also stalling in Washington because of construction workers, even with legal status, are worried about being detained in these ICE crackdowns. So people are wondering how this ballroom is going to get built when workers do not feel comfortable going into the city.
How about that? Well, Anna, we'll touch base again in the coming weeks. Hang in there, and everybody in D.C., hang in there. Hopefully this thing is over sooner than later.
Hoping for that. Thank you so much.
Tired of ads interrupting your favorite news podcast? Good news. Ad-free listening on Amazon Music is included with your Prime membership. Yeah, stay up to date on everything newsworthy with podcasts like The Daily, Up First, and 5 Things, uninterrupted at Amazon.com/ad-free. Just head to Amazon.com/ad-free to catch up on the latest episodes without the ads.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-859-3220. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-859-3220. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-859-3220. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-859-3220 or biglou.com.
Let's go!
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Are you a parent of a 2 to 8-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting offer, then head to abcmouse.com/radio to learn more. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
We're offering a promo at abcmouse.com/radio to try it for free for a month, then $14.99 per month until canceled. Go to abcmouse.com/radio to see this offer. That's abcmouse.com/radio. Actual ABC Mouse users compensated for their testimonials, sponsored by Age of Learning.
You know what they say, you never get a second chance to make a first impression, and windows and doors are usually that first impression when it comes to your home. Dalco Home Remodeling custom makes their windows and doors, and better yet, they make them here in Missouri. Dalco Home Remodeling is locally and family owned, celebrating 50 years, so they know a thing or two. The Dalco team is known for quality and customer satisfaction. That's the way it was 50 years ago when they started, and that's still true today. So if you're looking to change the look of your home without breaking the bank, call Dalco Home Remodeling. They do free in-home estimates. Just call 314-298-7300 and make an appointment. You can also check them out online at dalcohomeremodeling.com. As they've always said, if you buy somewhere else and find out how much you could have saved at Dalco, you'll blow your stack. So call Dalco first, 314-298-7300.
Sure, AAA are the folks who can get you back on the road when you have a flat tire. They can also provide quality and affordable home and auto insurance. But when you think of AAA, think of this too, AAA Travel. Hi, it's Julie Buck, and AAA Travel is ready to plan your next trip or vacation. And you don't have to be a member to enjoy their services. Of course, membership does have its privileges. To find a AAA advisor near you, just visit AAA.com/travel. Remember, the internet is for looking. AAA.com/travel is for booking.
You're listening to the Heidi Glaus Show with Josh Gilbert and Bob Ramsey on the Big 550 KTRS.
We're going to talk to Alex Stone here at 5:30. He has the story on Prime Day. Apparently, they're going to do Prime Day 9 times a year now. What's the specialty if Black Friday is once a month?
It's just a sale.
Yeah, it's just a sale. We used to get real excited because it was once a year, Prime Day, 2 days. Buy a TV. I told you, this TV I bought, this Fire TV from Amazon, it's a Prime Day deal. I think it's a 40-inch something. It's the worst TV I've ever had.
I'm not laughing at your misfortune.
Do you still use it?
It's my, I had a buddy come over last night. We made steaks and watched Sunday Night Football out back. And it's
took it outside.
It's the Outback TV.
It's the Outback TV. And it's light. It fits under your arm. You can carry it,
Yeah.
So maybe I need to update the software on it or something, but you'll be watching. It takes forever to turn on, and then you'll be watching something, and all of a sudden it'll just kick back to the home screen for no reason.
Oh, that's weird.
So a ringing endorsement of the Amazon TV is available tomorrow.
Right. If Heidi were here, she would say, well, you get what you pay for, Josh. But then, last Prime Day, they got me. I go on, and I'm looking, and I'm like, ooh, they got a 65-inch Fire TV for $240.
Well, now this would be fully on you because you know what the Fire
worst
TV is.
TV I've ever owned.
Oh, but it's 20 inches bigger, so obviously now I have
to have it.
Got the big one now. We'll see. We'll see what they're offering. I don't know if this is in your Hollywood, Bob. I don't want to scoop you, but what the heck is going on with Mark Sanchez?
Wait a second.
Former NFL quarterback. Oh, okay. No, don't rip it up because I need to know.
Well, it's too late. That was going to be the story.
That was in your Hollywood?
That was my lead story.
Oh, it was?
No, Josh.
Well, hey, how about
No, well, I'll give it to you, though, if you want it now.
No, I want to save it.
No, it's too late. I already threw the scripts away.
He already ripped it up.
You ripped it up?
So I'll just tell you what we got.
It's sitting over there. It's ripped up.
What
Sanchez,
happened?
late at night, an alley between two hotels, one at a parking space. He was drunk, and a guy with a truck had parked where he wanted to park. He started yelling at the guy, and he got out of the truck, and then Sanchez attacked him. The guy felt his life was in danger and pulled out a knife and cut Sanchez up. Sanchez did hit him, and they both went to the hospital. But Sanchez appears to be the only one getting arrested.
And this guy was an older...
69 years old.
Oh, my goodness. And Mark Sanchez, obviously a big guy.
Professional athlete, former professional athlete.
Quarterback. He's probably 6'3", I don't know. But there was something about the guy was collecting oil. You know how they have the deep fryers and
he was working.
He was working, and Mark Sanchez what does Mark Sanchez care?
He wanted the parking space.
Well, I don't know. We got an alert on Saturday morning that Mark Sanchez had been stabbed in Indianapolis ahead of the football game. We were, oh my goodness. And then 3 hours later we get Mark Sanchez has been arrested for assault.
And it's interesting that the cops did not arrest the older gentleman with the knife.
Because it was self-defense.
It was self-defense. And, you pull a knife, it's just a fist fight. Well, when you got I'm speaking for old men everywhere. I'm not going to take a butt whooping.
No.
And so that's just the way it is. And we're not going to do that anymore. We're not young guys at the bar trying to show how tough we are. We don't do that. We're old. Leave us alone.
Yeah.
I just want to watch TV.
Well, here's the question: who'd they get to do the game?
I forgot his name. Yeah, they had a guy.
Colts game. Colts really demolished the
It was
Raiders.
Brady Quinn.
Yeah, Brady
so
Quinn.
a different USC QB.
Well, that's interesting. Same pedigree, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to go to a commercial break. We're going to hit traffic, and then when we come back, Alex Stone has the latest on the next Prime Day.
I got to say, I am feeling better than ever. And that's not bragging. That's just telling you that you too can get back to feeling like yourself again with the help of Premier U. You guys know by now, I have tried everything. I had switched jobs. I had turned 45 and something changed in my body. The things that I was doing prior to that weren't working anymore. And thankfully, I discovered Premier U. Now, you've heard of the weight loss medications, Ozempic and Mounjaro. And what Premier U does is offers those generic equivalents at a fraction of the price. But it's not just, here you go, here's a shot. They hold your hand through the entire process. You weigh in once a month, and they actually tell you, okay, you're losing weight in the right places, or maybe you're losing a little muscle here, so we want to add in an amino acid, or we want you to lift weights a little more. The Premier U piece of it is holding your hand through all of it and kind of coaching you and giving you all those tools that you need to get back to feeling like you again, or better yet, even the best you've ever felt. So check out Premier U. There's 2 locations, one in Swansea, one in South County. You can find them online at premiermed.com.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is, who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella Windows specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation, 314-569-1050. And have a Banner Day.
The official birthplace of the toasted ravioli is
Mama's on the Hill.
And Mama's on the Hill serves the best in town. Mama's has been a mainstay on the Hill for decades and is still a family-run restaurant serving up great Italian food in a fun atmosphere. Open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner, and right in the heart of the Hill at Edwards and Bischoff. Delicious catering and party rooms too.
Mama's on the Hill.
Make reservations at 314-776-3100 and 24/7 at mamasonthehill.com.
Hey, it's Julie Buck for our friends at Triad Bank. They are a full-service financial institution, and they've been in St. Louis for over 20 years with 2 locations, one at Clayton and Lindbergh, and the other one just west of 270 on Olive. If you've got your own business and you want to have a better banking experience, look no further than Triad Bank. Their mission is to provide a wide range of commercial and personal banking services to you and your business. For more, go to triadbanking.com.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Take a look at traffic with Captain Paul Kopsky.
Josh, northbound 170 still closed at I-70 and the Scudder exit due to an accident that happened about 1 o'clock. The ramp to westbound 70 is closed and the ramp to eastbound 70 is open, and it looks like traffic is being diverted. The jam extends all the way back to Page. Road work on westbound 5570 between Fairmount and Illinois 111 has the two right lanes closed and is causing a slowdown, and the ramp from eastbound 370 to 270 south is closed for pavement repairs. This traffic report is brought to you by Lion's Choice, a local favorite since 1967. Lion's Choice continues to serve high-quality roast beef to families and friends across Missouri and Illinois. Everyone's got their favorite order. What's yours? Stop by or order online. From the KTRS Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
Speaking of music, I played this one time, and I didn't realize that at the end of the movie, or at the end of the song, he says several bad words.
Are words really bad, Josh?
Well, I mean, according to the FCC, they are.
Good answer.
Somebody caught it on the text line, but I never heard from the boss about it. So. Careful when you play Lawyers, Guns, and Money, Connor.
Yeah, because the bleep has hit the fan.
The bleep has hit the fan.
That's why you only play the beginning riffs, Josh.
I know. Alex Stone. Alex, you've been in radio for a long time. Have you ever worked the technical side of it? You ever been a board op?
I've done a little bit of it here and there, sure.
Yeah? Picking the music out, turning the microphones on?
Yeah. I was never very good at it, but I've done it.
Well, then you should press what you're good at, and you're good at reporting, and you've got a story on Amazon Prime Day. So is this the third one this year?
Well, for the fall, yeah, because it goes back to 2015, and at that time, the idea was one day that celebrate 20 years of Amazon in July when it's typically slow. People are on summer vacation; they're not buying holiday gifts, they're not buying big appliances, not back to school yet, and they went, that's a big moneymaker. That really worked out well. So then it became an annual thing, and then it became multiple days. Then during the pandemic, they went, you know what we could do? Let's add another one right before the holidays and try to get a jump on Black Friday and on Cyber Monday and try to steal that business away. And it worked. So now we get them in July and we get them in the fall. And it's a huge retail event for not just Amazon, but Target and Walmart and Best Buy and everybody who has to compete. And it's expected this is going to be record-breaking. Vivek Pandya with Adobe Analytics, they do all the number crunching for the retailers. He says the deals are going to be big.
Some of the deepest discounts will go as much as 28%. We see that in categories like electronics. But then we're also anticipating discounts to be pretty competitive for apparel at 25%, appliances at 18%.
Overall, they expect around $9 billion to be spent tomorrow and Wednesday for Prime Day across all the retailers for the deals that are being offered. That is 6.2% over last year. And this is probably not a good sign for the economy, but they think buy now, pay later use will jump by 8% to $723 million. Typically, it's not seen great for your home finances if you have to say, give it to me now, but I'll pay for it down the road. But that popularity is growing. And this one makes sense. That 50% of the shopping will be on mobile devices compared to going into a store and desktop computers and everything, that most of it will be done on your cell phone. And the other thing that they expect to be a big impact on this is AI leading people what to buy. So a lot of people have been doing this for airfares recently. Now they're seeing it in just general shopping where somebody goes to, say, ChatGPT or one of the other platforms and says, I want a Samsung 55-inch TV. Where's the best deal?
Oh.
And, I mean, it will look around the world to find where you live, how the best way for you to get that Samsung that you want. So they've got to know that that's now coming into play. And he says,
we have a consumer that's really leaning on the online sector to try to understand what's available to them. They're using some of these generative AI platforms, these LLM models, to get a sense of where they can get the best absolute deal, where they can find cheaper versions of goods, discovering different products on social media platforms and through micro and macro influencers.
So, that really changes the ballgame and all this, and the influencer side of it is somebody with a 10-year-old and a 12-year-old. The influencers are everything, and whatever the influencers say online is what they're going to be looking for. The other thing that they find, that they think that there is a trend this year that the consumers aren't only looking for lowest prices, but going into this Prime Day event, that they're looking to trade up, according to Adobe Analytics, to buy a nicer TV than what they already have, or a nicer refrigerator or washer and dryer, to get a good deal on them, but not to go for the basic model. So you'll see some nicer stuff out there as well. Like Yeti products are going to be on sale. They don't typically go on sale. Ninja products will as well. They've got all kinds of things now, like a daiquiri maker for home, where it looks like you're on Bourbon Street, where it's like going around and you can make your own soft serve ice cream, different coffee makers and things, and of course vacuum cleaners and electric toothbrush models and Amazon branded products and TVs and other things. But remember, not just Amazon, Target, Walmart, Best Buy, they're Macy's, they're all going to be doing it.
Go back to the AI thing, because it's way beyond me, and I'm actually was looking at it today, starting to do a lot of travel for the winter, Alex. And so are they saying, are consumers saying, or are you saying that if I want to say what's the best flight from Philadelphia to St. Louis, I plug that in and AI is going to search it for me and be correct?
Yeah, people are doing it all the time now.
Wow.
That's kind of the way people are getting good deals, where they'll go on there and say, find me the cheapest and quick. You can give it any parameter you want. Cheapest and quickest way to fly from here to there. And it'll spit out the best deal that it can find on all the airlines and get it right back to you.
That's amazing.
I know people that use ChatGPT exclusively now. They don't even Google anymore.
Yeah, my brother's one of them, especially people who work in the tech industry, and he's like, you don't use it? And I'm, no, but he uses it for everything. And I'm like, I don't have that many things during the day that I feel like I can't answer on my own, and that I can't just Google and find the answer for, but people who are into it use it for everything.
And I said, well, do you pay for it? And he said, well, not at first, but now I use it so often, you got to pay for it.
You can upgrade and get higher results or whatever.
Yeah. So I was telling these guys that I bought a TV on Prime Day one time, and it was just the biggest piece of junk.
See, you didn't go for the trading up. You went for the bare basic.
Yes.
Just the cheapest.
$170 for a 40-inch flat screen. And
that's not going to be. I can tell you that's not going to be a great flat screen.
Terrible, but they're going to get me because I'm going to be looking at it tomorrow. For sure.
Oh, yeah.
So all right. Well, I'll let you know if I get that TV out. You can come over and watch the football game. Thank you, Alex Stone. Prime Day is tomorrow.
You got it. Later, guys.
You can count on Cantor. I'm Mark Cantor. When I was 12 years old, I witnessed my father, a pediatric doctor at Cardinal Glennon Hospital, suffer a terrible accident when a large and defective battery exploded in his face. My father went into shock and had to undergo emergency surgery to save his life. While my dad recovered, he hired a lawyer who promised that no one else would be hurt by that company's product, and he filed a lawsuit to make sure no one did. I love my dad, and what he went through inspired me to become a lawyer and to start Cantor Injury Law. Like my father, I serve the St. Louis community, and I have done so for over 30 years. You can count on Cantor to treat you like family, to understand your case and your injury, and to fight for you. You can count on Cantor to help make things right. Visit CantorInjuryLaw.com or find us on Facebook or call us at 314-628-9999. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision, should not be based solely upon advertisement, so call Cantor.
PermaJack of St. Louis is synonymous with foundation repair and basement waterproofing across the St. Louis region. They know when you get water in your basement following a storm or when the snow melts, it means you have a problem. Make sure your basement doesn't leak or flood with PermaJack of St. Louis. PermaJack's basement waterproofing experts can perform a complete inspection of your basement to determine the problem and design a solution to keep water from entering and damaging your home. The solution could be as simple as crack repair or a sump pump, or more comprehensive like exterior waterproofing or an internal perimeter drainage system. No matter the solution, your basement will be dry with Hometown PermaJack. Schedule a free inspection and estimate by visiting permajackofstlewis.com. That's permajackofstlewis.com. PermaJack, foundation repair and waterproofing. Done right.
Everybody loves good barbecue, and everybody wants to know where the next great barbecue place is. And if you're looking for an overnight sensation, it's only taken them 10 years. Three Bay Barbecue and Bakery, Woods Mill and Clayton Road. There is a gas station, West County Phillips 66 gas station. In that gas station, in the back, for 10 years, some of the best barbecue in town. Bring a friend and spread the word. Three Bay Barbecue and Bakery. Don't forget about the bakery. 3baybarbecueandbakery.com.
Branch out and get to know the St. Louis County Library System. September 2nd through October 31st, the library is encouraging people to visit new library locations during the Branch Out Challenge. Pick up a passport or register online to get started. All 20 St. Louis County Library branches are offering fun activities and giveaways. Complete the challenge and take home an I Love My Library window cling and a chance to win a $100 Visa gift card. Learn more at slcl.org/branch-out.
I'm Farmer Dave, and here's my good friend and owner of MasterCars Inc., Alex Rosenberger, with today's hot MasterCars Inc. deals.
Hey, thanks, Farmer Dave. This is our favorite motoring season. Great top-down weather or getting the bike out. The temps are perfect. Of course, we can fix you up with one if you're in need. Attractive financing options available with no payments until 2026. Keep that in mind. Now, if you have one and don't need it, we can help there too. We're always looking for super clean, low-mile, pristine Corvettes, muscle cars, classic cars, luxury cars, you name it. Motorcycles too, especially Ducatis and Harleys. We'll even buy entire collections. Hop on our site, submit what you've got, and we'll get you an offer. Easy as that.
So rev that motor and point your car in the direction of MasterCars Inc. and buy or sell today. 4100 Namioki Road in Granite City, or visit MasterCarsInc.com to get more details. That's MasterCarsInc.com.
You're listening to the Heidi Glaus Show with Josh Gilbert and Bob Ramsey on the Big 550 KTRS.
Well, Heidi's out, so Bob's been handling the Hollywood in her stead. Heidi will be back tomorrow, though.
Josh took the lead story, so I really have nothing.
The Mark Sanchez story.
No, I'm kidding. Only sort of. George Clooney admits he's not thrilled with being 64, and he reveals what he considers a real sign of aging. Either you guys want to guess what that is? What does George Clooney say at 64 is a sign of aging?
He's got little kids.
He's got 8-year-old twins.
Does it have to do with the twins?
No.
Qualifying for Medicare.
He didn't. No, that's not what he said either.
Oh, yeah. 65, right?
This is great. Loss of vertical leap.
Oh. You really lose the vertical.
You lose your vertical. He said he was playing pickup basketball with some mostly British actors. He was filming 2022's The Boys in the Boat. And for those who don't know, he loves basketball, loves playing basketball. When they filmed Up in the Air here, God, has that been 15 years ago? Something like that. He would go down to St. Louis U and play pickup games in Chaffetz. Anyway, he said, and then this is the amazing part of the story. Not that he doesn't have the leap anymore. He's only probably my size, 6 feet tall.
He's real thin,
5'11". He said he used to could dunk.
No.
That's what he said.
George Clooney.
But he hadn't tried it.
Maybe in his prime.
Come on.
Yeah, he said, well, you have to have good hops.
I've seen far shorter people dunk.
Was he wearing those shoes
Yeah,
that
the
Jimmy
pogo
and
shoes.
George were selling on Seinfeld, the jump shoes?
He goes, I got big hands. I took the ball. I can dribble. I took a step and went to dunk like I used to. I didn't even get to the net. Fell backwards on my keister in the gravel. He goes, really embarrassing. And he goes, this is a sign of aging. I can't even get to the rim anymore.
Wow.
You got to consider he's from Lexington, so he's probably been playing basketball his whole
life.
Big Kentucky, big Calipari guy. Was that Calipari country?
But
it was
back in the day.
way before
Way
then.
before that?
Yeah, how old do you
Yeah, he's 64 years old.
64.
He's probably older than John Calipari.
But kind of to the point, you just don't think of a normal-looking guy, normal-sized guy who didn't play college basketball. Oh, yeah, I can dunk. It's just, I thought that was interesting and actually fascinating because I couldn't.
All right, let me ask you this. Because you mentioned SLU, basketball, he'd go down to the gym and play. My sister, back in the day, used to play at some gym at SLU, and it was real old gym.
West Pine Gym.
And it has the
West Pine
circle.
Gym. Yeah, West Pine Gym.
Does that still exist?
Yeah, but it's changed into something completely different now.
It's not a gym anymore.
No.
Okay. That gym was so cool.
It was classic.
Yeah, it
Classic.
was. It was classic.
But they outgrew it not long after college basketball started there. And they hadn't played in there since the early 20s, I don't think.
Oh, my gosh. It's been around that long?
It's old building.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's one that kind of blow your mind a little bit, maybe. It didn't really me, but I don't think, well, most people think of John Candy for all his great comedic roles and all the way back to his TV days on SCTV, which was one of my favorite shows. Anyway, his son Christopher is posting some things about him, and in a recent interview, he said he was sent the script of Pulp Fiction. They were offering him a role, and he was going to be in Goodfellas. 2 serious roles for John Candy.
Roles? Was John Candy going to be Vincent Vega?
He didn't say, but he was a terrific actor. Remember, he had movies, several serious roles. The only one I could come to mind is in JFK.
Oh,
Yeah, he's so over the top in JFK though.
Yeah.
He's wearing these glasses. He's going all in on the Southern accent.
Yeah.
He's ridiculous.
But it's
a good performance.
It's a serious role.
Yeah, but he's not serious.
Okay.
But even some of his comedy roles, like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, he's really a tremendous actor.
Yeah.
Tremendous actor.
These movies, Uncle Buck, there's always a scene at the end where
Something poignant.
Yeah, it really gets poignant.
Anna Kendrick said she saw the Loch Ness Monster. You know Anna Kendrick from those
cute little
choir. She was in Up in the Air. I think that was her first movie.
She was in Up in the Air. Glee. What's the Glee Club movie?
Yeah, not a big fan.
Pitch Perfect.
Not a big fan. There was a thing that came out of the water and it looked right at me. It might have actually been one suspicious ripple, but I'm telling you, I felt it. Okay, she's a loon. Yeah. She's absolutely
Next.
a loon. Guys, ready for some birthdays? Let's do it.
Yes.
All right, these are some good ones, I think. We'll see. One of my all-time favorites, because really it's about me on this show, on this part of the show, Elizabeth Shue.
Oh, I thought you were
Love Elizabeth Shue.
You were going to say Elizabeth Hurley.
From Karate Kid to Cobra Kai to Leaving Las Vegas, where she was truly brilliant.
You know, McGraw has an obsession with Elizabeth Shue.
I wouldn't say I'm obsessed, but I'm a big fan.
You're borderline.
Big fan. How old is Liz Shue?
Gosh, 80s? She was a kid in the 80s.
51.
56.
She could play both those ages. She's 62.
Wow.
How about, let's get it to the guy's side of it. Former coach of the Colts. Now does a pregame show, Football Night in America. Tony Dungy's how old?
66.
I wanted to say 70. Is he 70?
Bang, got it.
Okay.
Wow.
Tony Dungy's 70. How about that one? He's got a lead now. Back to Bob's world. Lead singer of REO Speedwagon, Kevin Cronin.
Kevin Cronin.
Gosh. They just reunited at the Illini game. Homecoming.
For the first time in a long time.
What did they play? Were they on the field?
They played with the band at halftime.
That's pretty cool. I wish I'd have seen that. Because that was my 70s
right.
when I was in high school.
Did Ario have a bunch of horns?
Yeah,
a lot
sometimes.
of percussion. Kevin Cronin is 76.
I was going to say 78.
74. One more?
Yeah.
This was, I got to do a callback because I can't believe I missed it on Friday. This gentleman had his birthday on October 3rd. I'm not qualified to say who's best, and I would say this guy wouldn't qualify for that. But my favorite lead guitarist from Fleetwood Mac, Lindsey Buckingham.
Oh, boy, he uses his fingers. He's a plucker.
He doesn't do pick.
Isn't that wild? Probably.
He makes one guitar sound like two.
Yeah, that's wild.
Weird, wild stuff.
78?
Yeah. I don't know. Is he 80?
76.
He is
Lindsey Buckingham.
He's cantankerous, right?
No, he's crazy.
I was going to say he's prickly, but
he is
certifiable.
a tortured artist. He is the epitome of it.
All right, let's do traffic one more time, and then we'll come up back, wrap everything up, do a couple of randoms, and get you out of here. It is 5:51. How are the roads?
Josh, we do have some good news. It looks like northbound 170 is open again after being closed between I-70 and the Scudder-Hanley exit due to an accident that happened around 1 o'clock. Right now, traffic is backed up past St. Charles Rock Road to Midland. Road work on westbound 5570 between Fairmount and Illinois 111 has the two right lanes closed, and that's causing a slowdown. And note that the ramp from eastbound 370 to 270 south is closed for pavement repairs. This traffic report is brought to you by Fielder Electric. See what everyone is saying about the pros at Fielder Electric. Whether it's a new build or a 100-year-old home, Fielder Electric has you covered. From the KTRS Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
Schrader Funeral Homes and Crematory, St. Louis's oldest family-owned funeral home, offering complete funeral, burial, and cremation services, including an on-site reception center and crematory. 150 years of serving St. Louis families. Visit them at Schrader.com.
Well, as if that big, giant wheel isn't enough, now there's even more fun to be had at St. Louis Union Station. There are more rides. The Flying Louie, which is a swashbuckling pirate-themed ride that swings to 42.5 feet in the air. You've got the Locomotion, a train-themed roller coaster in the wheel park, and the Wave Swinger, which is your classic swing ride. Josh just took Finn, and they rode them over and over again. Of course, you still have that big wheel. They've added some midway games, and that all just adds to the fun already to be had at Union Station. And let's not forget the aquarium, where you can get up close to all kinds of creatures, even a snake if you dare. So plan out your trip. You can find more info, get your tickets at stlouisunionstation.com.
Appliance Discounters has another showroom, this time on Gravois Road, right next to the little Dairy Queen that's been there for ages. This showroom is different. It's packed with name brands, GE, LG, Bosch, that are slightly dinged, one-of-a-kind, or closeout items direct from the manufacturer. They all come with the factory warranties and all the factory rebates. You want huge savings at big discounts, theappliancediscounters.com. To find the one nearest you, including the one on Gravois Road in Afton, theappliancediscounters.com.
It's Jill Farmer for Premier Heating and Cooling. St. Louis winters don't mess around, and neither should you. When those freezing temps hit, the last thing you want to do is discover your furnace isn't up to the job. That's why now is the perfect time to call Premier Heating and Cooling. Their certified technicians will give your system a full checkup, making sure it's safe, efficient, and ready to keep your family warm all season long. Think of it like an oil change for your car. A little preventative care now saves you from big, expensive breakdowns later. Plus, a tuned-up system runs more efficiently, which means lower energy bills when the cold really sets in. So don't wait until you're shivering under 3 blankets. Schedule your heating inspection today with Premier Heating and Cooling. Excellent rating with the Better Business Bureau. So many of their new customers are referred by happy customers like me. PremierHeatingCooling.net 636-916-1122.
A big KTRS shout out to Lacey Lumber, family owned and family operated since 1872. Lacey Lumber has built the St. Louis metropolitan area. They've worked with builders and contractors and homeowners. They provide building materials from soup to nuts. 2 hardware stores in Belleville ready to serve you. Millwork, insulating material, wallboard, roofing materials, you name it, Lacey Lumber can help because Lacey Lumber is just that much better. LaceyLumber.com.
A message from the master. If you are looking for that one-of-a-kind gift this year, come on in to Newsletter's Fine Jewelers. Let Richard draw your future present for somebody you love. This special engraving lasts a lifetime. At the corner of Big Ben and Doherty Ferry or at wowdiamonds.com.
You're listening to the Heidi Glaus Show with Josh Gilbert and Bob Ramsey on the Big 550 KTRS.
Got a couple of randoms before we get you out of here for the day. Bob, you're the baseball nut. 0 no-hitters in the 2025 regular season. It's been 20 years since 2005.
There's been zero.
But here's the interesting part. No-hitters have become more common in the past 25 years, averaging 3.1 no-hitters per season.
What's going to be hard about it now is very few complete games. Like the kid came out of the game the other night with no hits.
Yank 'em.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Was it last night or 2 nights ago?
Well, they count I'm sure they count the combined no-hitter, which I'm sure you hate as a purist.
Well, that doesn't count.
I don't think it would count on the list he's talking about.
I think it might.
A no-hitter's a no-hitter, but
if you're talking about more common, I think it might.
That doesn't count.
A ruling here from Judge Kennesaw Mountain Landis.
Josh's baseball almanac. And
I'd love to read that.
It's all about uniforms. It's the only thing that's in there. And less than half of the cultures in the world kiss.
So no mono.
Yeah, they just shake each other's hands. That'll do it for us. Heidi back tomorrow for Bob, Connor, and myself. We'll see you then.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas.